All right, I made 5 seconds. A 1 second stream yesterday. That was something else, wasn't it? First ever 1 second stream. My internet was messed up yesterday. I apologize for that. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Sorry for the 1 second preview yesterday, but it does count to my streak of consecutive days of doing a stream. I did 40 minutes of preview yesterday, and I was hoping it was going to take and record so you guys could see it later, but it didn't. It was not or not. It was a good stream too. Trust me. I think nobody saw it though. Anyway, let's move on. We're on right today, so let's go. That's right. Of course, today we have a reaction to the Celtics game last night. I'm also going to react to the Open Gym episode that came out on Monday. I'm also going to preview 2 games today. The Raptors 905 are playing at noon in Oklahoma City against the Blue, and I have to get ready and be done on this stream by 11:30. So I went a little early. 9-10. And then, of course, the Raptors are on the second night of a back-to-back in Indiana to play the Pacers and Pascal Siakam. So we've got to preview that also. So let's get right to it. Lots to talk about. There's a whole bunch of things I said yesterday that I'm going to have to say again today, obviously. I'm sorry about the technical difficulty yesterday. You know, this has been an odyssey of over 3 years of doing a stream every single day. And I hate that I had only a 1 second stream yesterday where it was just like shows me and then I'm gone. But my streak is intact. And in some ways, you know, this is a grind. And I got a day off yesterday in some ways. So I apologize to everyone for not being able to do my normal duties on this channel correctly. And it was exactly what y'all thought. My modem was overburdened because I hadn't cycled it in probably a month. I don't think I'd unplugged it or done anything, power cycled it for like a month. So it was all built up with being all screwy. So I used to do this all the time before I do my stream. I'd unplug the modem and plug it back in, especially when I was back at the old place downtown in Leslieville. But I haven't been doing it recently out here, but I guess I should start doing it again. Power cycling the modem before I do my stream is always a good idea so that there's no buffering. And I found that that's a very effective thing to do. I just hadn't done it in a long time. It was built up and it was too late. And I was getting to the stream too late. All right, let's do the previews for tonight. We'll come back around and we'll react to the Celtics game last night and Open Gym. I have a lot of glowing, amazing things to say about Open Gym. It's the exact opposite of Raptors Delight. To me, it's a palate cleanser. It makes me feel good about my team, whereas Raptors Delight is a negging, mean, nasty show. And I'm going to start calling it the dark side of the Raptors. That's what I'm calling it now. You know, there's dark side of the ring, dark side of the 90s, dark side of the comedy, dark side episodes from Vice. A lot of different shows. They're great. They're very interesting, but they're seedy and they're disgusting and kind of sad. Well, that's what I'm calling Raptors Delight. The dark side of the Raptors, your bullshit. And I'm glad that there's night to your day or day to your night because that's what Open Gym is and always has been. And this was one of the greatest Open Gym episodes ever made this week. And I'm going to go over why a little bit later. But let's do the preview first. First of all, we'll do the latest lineup news for the Raptors. Grady Dick was listed yesterday as probable due to a thigh injury, but he played last night and he was fine. But he did take a little lick from Royce O'Neal on Sunday that put him on the injury list, but he did end up playing last night, which was fantastic. Pirtle was close. Jakob's very, very close. Who knows? Maybe he plays tonight. Maybe he gets reunited against his best buddy, Pascal Siakam, in competition tonight in Indiana. I hope so. There is a possibility that Pirtle will play today, guys, just so y'all know. Just so y'all know. He's very close to returning, is what Darko's been saying in the interviews during the day, that Yak is very close, but he wasn't close last night, and that really made a small ball game last night because Jakob and then the late scratch of Porzingis and Horford didn't play either last night. So it was a small ball kind of game last night. But Pirtle could play tonight, guys. I'm going to say that right now. There is a possibility that Pirtle could be suiting up tonight, and that may have been part of the plan, that he'd be reinforcements on the second night of a back-to-back to help the Raptors against the Pacers. Tucker is not with the team. Shamshay is out for the season. And Ingram, well, every 2 weeks, we're going to check on him and see how he's doing. Now, they're intensively working with Brandon Ingram already, even though he's not physically able to play for us. He's been getting a lot of schooling from Darko on his systems and talking to him about philosophies. And in some ways, the way Darko described it yesterday in his interview was that he picks Brandon's brain and that they sit around and watch tape and they talk about basketball philosophy. And he's trying to shape an idea of how he wants to put his duties in the system when he comes in to start playing for us when he's healthy. So there's a lot of pre-thought and pre-planning going in with Brandon Ingram right now, even if we're not seeing him on the court. The other thing about it is he's working out very heavily on strength and also rehabbing and getting himself in a better place. And that's good because he's in the program here with the Raptors now, and hopefully he's getting some really good guidance that will help and strengthen him for the rest of his career. So Ingram's out right now. But we'll see every 2 weeks. We'll have to check with him and see if he is going to come back this season. That would be fantastic if he does. So tonight's starting lineup, I'm speculating will be Barbecue, Dick, alongside with maybe Mobo or Robinson. But hey, who knows? It's like we'll have to see which center it is starting tonight. There's a good chance it could be Pirtle too. So I'm hoping it's Pirtle. We'll have to see. So we'll have to see. Yeah, it'd be nice to be mostly healthy. On the Indiana side of things, there are some injuries for what they've got going into the game tonight. TJ McConnell is questionable for tonight's game due to his ankle. Tyrese Halliburton is also questionable tonight due to a left groin soreness. And Isaiah Jackson has been out since November. He is not going to be playing. So, yeah, that's kind of their injuries. It looks like Halliburton's a game-time decision as well as McConnell. So they'll be probably starting Andrew Nebhard and maybe Ben Shepherd in the backcourt, or maybe Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner as the rest of the starting lineup. Obi Toppin off the bench, Thomas Bryant, Derace Walker, Johnny Furphy, Ray J. Dennis, Enrique Freeman, and Quentin Jackson. That's their lineup. Now the Pacers have lost to us both games we played them so far. So we've already won the season series against the Pacers. This will be the third and final game against Indiana. And the only game in Indiana, both games were in Toronto earlier this season, and we won both of them. So the Raptors are up 2-0 in the season series. We're guaranteed the win in the season series, but we could sweep them. That's the fun thing. We could sweep the Pacers tonight for the season, and that'd be fantastic, seeing as they are winning Eastern Conference team this year. Their schedule, recently, they've had a kind of ups and downs. They've won 3 out of their last 4, which is pretty good. So, but Siakam, it's interesting. I'll talk about this in a second. But, yeah, they played Washington and beat them in overtime. Memphis and L.A. Clippers they beat, and then they lost to the Denver Nuggets on Monday night. So they've won 3 out of their last 4, but they're 4-4 in their last 8. So they've been playing kind of 500 basketball over the last month or so. So we'll just have to see how they are. Siakam said this, and I'll do it a little early. On his Instagram stories, he's saying that he didn't feel like he got a break over All-Star at all, and he's tired. And he said sometimes when you go to All-Star or you have All-Star break, you feel recharged and you come back from the break and you're feeling 100%, you're ready to go. And sometimes you don't. And, well, Siakam is lamenting, and I don't know if he's making excuses, but he's saying that he ain't right now since the All-Star break because he didn't feel like he got any rest over All-Star, and he's tired is basically what he's saying. So Siakam's in a tired place right now, guys, just so you all know. And he's saying it on his Instagram. It's crazy. Of course, today we're going to play the Oklahoma City Blue today, and we'll see our old buddy Brandon Carlson on that game at noon. The Raptors 905 has Jared Rhoden and Jamison Battle and AJ Lawson with them. Jonathan Mobo and Jamal Shed, of course, still with the Raptors. So Rhoden and Battle and Lawson are at 905 with them to play against Oklahoma City Blue. So who's on that team? Buddy Boeheim, Cameron Brown, Javante Cook, Brendan Carlson, Alex Dukas, Adam Flagler, Justin Hamilton, Dylan Jones, Logan Johnson, Miller Kopp, Malevi Leons, Jamias Ramsey, Cormac Ryan, and Noah Starkey on the Oklahoma City Blue. That game will start at noon today. So we're going to have some in the middle of the day action with the basketball, which I love. I love to have some basketball in the middle of the day. So we got a doubleheader, another opportunity for the Raptors to get a double W. And hopefully we can beat the Oklahoma City Blue at noon. And then later on tonight, we'll beat Pascal and the Pacers to sweep them for the season. The referees in Oklahoma City at noon are crew chief Chalisa Painter is number 66. The referee is Ken Jones, number 40. And the umpire will be Cameron Jelanis, number 54. That's our ref crew for the 905 G League game this afternoon. The 905 have not been winning lately. They've been sliding a little bit this month. And they need to get back on the winning side because they're standing at the top of the G League standings. Has been slipping. and they can't afford that. So hopefully Jared Rhoden and Jamison Battle showing back up on the 905 for this game will be enough to help them beat Jamias Ramsey and Brandon Carlson. It'd be fantastic. The referees for the Pacers game tonight. You know what? The crew chief is normally a really good ref for us. It's a guy that I really like, but nobody's favoring us today. It's going to be very much like the ref crew last night that was not favorable to us, and they weren't. They weren't. There was some really questionable calls in the game last night. There were a couple of possession arrows that went the wrong way, where it should have been Raptors ball, and we could have challenged it and probably gotten the ball, but we didn't. There was one at the end of the second quarter that obviously Chris Boucher was calling for the challenge, but Darko didn't do it. I think it may be because Darko's shying away from doing challenges in the first half and losing his challenge. But yeah, there were at least 2 plays last night against the Celtics where the ball was incorrectly given to the Celtics when it should have been off of them and given possession to the Raptors. I counted twice that happened, at least twice. All right, the referee crew chief tonight is Josh Tiven, guys. Josh Tiven is normally a very nice ref to the Raptors. This year he is not, though. We've lost all 4 games that Josh Tiven has refereed for us this season so far. Number 58 in his 15th season out of Norwich, Connecticut. He likes the TV show Seinfeld. He watches the movie Minority Report, listens to Dermot Kennedy. His favorite book is a book written by his father, Bruce, named Firstborn. His favorite meal is chicken parmesan and vodka sauce. He likes IG as his favorite app. He most like to visit Hawaii. He's a yo-yo expert, and his bucket list is to play golf at Augusta National. There you go. Josh is a Connecticut native, has officiated 5 years in the NBA G League, working 3 final series in the 2008 All-Star Game. In addition, he refereed 2 years in WNBA and 7 years at the collegiate level. Tiven is married with 2 daughters, and he enjoys playing golf. Yeah, Josh is the best ref for the Raptors today. He is the crew chief, and he has the best percentage for us. But we lost all 3 games with him this season. Actually, we've lost 4 games with him. I should add that. That's what it is. Yeah, and our record with him historically is 55% winning percentage, which isn't a bad winning percentage, 55%. But he loves the Pacers more. They win 59%. So 55 to 59 is the split for the Pacers, the crew chief, Josh Tiven. Now, he's the nicest ref that we have today. The second ref is one of the worst refs. I hate this guy so much. His name is Marat Kugat, number 32 out of Kyiv, Ukraine, 16th season. Marat, he likes the show Family Guy. He likes the movie Catch Me If You Can. He listens to Queen. His favorite book is The Happiest Man on Earth. He eats Neapolitan pizza. His favorite app is Amazon. You sell out. Most like to visit Croatia, and his hidden talent is magician. That's right. The magician, Marat Kugat, is the second ref tonight. Boo. His officiating experience includes 3 years in the WNBA and 4 years in the G League. Also refereed in several NCAA Division I conferences. There you go. Kugat immigrated to the United States with his family 7 days after he was born in Ukraine. Raised in Brooklyn, New York, he started officiating at age 16 at local recreational youth leagues. So this guy's not really Ukrainian. He's a New York guy. Seriously. Well, Kugat, this is polar opposites right here for him today. We've lost all 4 games with him also this year. We've had him 4 times and lost all 4 of the games. This will be his 5th game with us this year. We win 33% of our games. It's one of the lowest with a long-standing ref with 10 years over. Is the worst winning percentage with a senior ref, a guy who's had 10 years. And meanwhile, like the only team that has a worse winning percentage with Kugat is the Pistons, and it's below us. Everybody else has a better winning percentage with Kugat. And the Pacers are actually the number 1 team with Kugat. They have the best winning percentage out of everything. So basically, like we're the second worst team that percentage-wise with Kugat, and we're playing the best percentage team, and they win 63% with Kugat. So it's 33 to 63, a very, very wide split with magician fuckface Kugat. Yeah, I hate that guy so much, man. He might be my least favorite ref in the league right now. The third ref is a ref we have not seen this year. This will be the first time he refs a game for the Raptors this year. Jonathan Sterling, number 17 in his 8th season out of Hampton, Virginia. Of course, his wife is a referee also, but I don't believe she's refereeing right now. So I think she took the year off or something. His favorite TV show is Chappelle's Show and Brother versus Brother. He likes the movie Coming to America. He's a Drake fan. His favorite app is Maps. He liked to visit Australia. So we got some people who want to go to Australia on the ref crew today. He wants to dive with sharks, and his hidden talent is breakdancing. Yeah, Jonathan Sterling has officiated 6 years in the NBA G League, working the 2015 and 16 playoffs and the 2017 finals. He was also a member of the WNBA officiating staff for 3 years and has served as a FIBA official. There you go. At the collegiate level, he worked for 7 seasons in the American Sun Belt, Southern Intercollegiate Athletic, at Sunshine State, and Peach Belt conferences. He also has experience as a Conference USA referee. Yeah, there you go. Jonathan Sterling, as I said, is married to Lauren Holtkamp Sterling. And I'm not even sure if she's refereeing this year, honestly. We had not had him this year. We win 43% of our games, and the Pacers are not much better, 48%. So 43 to 48 is the split for the Pacers with the third ref, Jonathan Sterling. So yeah, Tibbin could be really down the line. He can be kind of okay with the Raptors at times. We'll have to see. But Kugat, he's really not nice to us. Every 50-50 call that has the Raptors involved, he's going to go against the Raptors. I'm just going to tell you that right now. If it's a possession, like where it's dubious or it's anything that's 50-50 as a referee call, he's going to call it against the Raptors. Just so y'all know, the magician. Just so y'all know. There's your ref crew. I don't like it. Josh Tibbin, please be kind and nice and lead this ref crew in a very fair way. That's all I ask of you. Because, yeah, man, the crew yesterday was when I did my ref report yesterday that you guys didn't see. It was a similar kind of thing. This is a crew that all favors the Boston Celtics. And, I'm not going to trust, like, who was the crew chief yesterday? It was Booker. Booker was tough. Booker was tough yesterday. He wasn't totally nice to us. And the rookie Tyler Ricks was interesting. He got into it with Jason Tatum late in the game, where Jason Tatum really had a problem with him. That was very interesting. Jason Tatum being more of a senior player now in the league. He's a young player still, but he's been in the league for a while now. And I guess he feels like he has the big britches to walk around and kind of yell at the refs, especially a rookie ref, Tyler Ricks, making some calls that he didn't like. And, well, he got in his face, and then Tyler Ricks threw a technical at him. And then Jason Tatum went to Nick Booker and complained to Nick Booker about Tyler Ricks and saying, this ref's no good, man. This young guy is no good. He's not a good ref. I wonder how much influence somebody like Jason Tatum could have on a young referee's career like Tyler Ricks. Like, if Jason Tatum really doesn't like Tyler Ricks, can he tell the office and say, you know what, this ref's no good? And does that mean Tyler Ricks gets less assignments? I don't know. They're going to have to, they'll look at that whole situation. And hopefully he doesn't have any power. Who knows? But Tyler Ricks, he got into it with Jason Tatum in a weird spot in the game. It was kind of similar to Sunday with Kevin Durant and Matt Callio with hitting the floor. And because it was a positive play, it's like the Celtics had something good happen in that play. They scored, but he wasn't happy with how the game was being called as far as fouls. So he decided he wanted to take it out on a rookie ref, Tyler Ricks. Well, Tyler wasn't having it and gave him a tag. And, I like that. I like that moxie by Tyler Ricks in that situation. But, yeah, a little bit on those refs yesterday. All right, let's see the cat comments today. Trevor J saying, remember, most of your struggles and stress comes from the way you respond to the way life is. Adjust your attitude, and all that extra stress is gone. This is very true. This is very, very true. This is going to be a dark time coming up, and it's going to be very dangerous. There was a decision made by a very irresponsible decision made by Congress last night to cut Medicaid funding. And this is going to kill people. The blood will be on the hands of this administration, on Elon Musk and on Donald Trump. The thousands of people in the United States are going to die soon because they are not going to have health coverage all of a sudden, and something that they've been depending on. It's a really sad, grim thing. And it's so disgusting that so many congressmen in the United States yesterday voted for this to kill people and to hand extra money to billionaires is basically what they did. They cut funding for Medicare, and they're going to go ahead and give all that money in tax breaks to billionaires that they don't need. So more people are going to die unnecessarily because greedy rich people are controlling our government right now in the United States. And it's going to, this is the outcome. In history, it'll tell the tale of this. And yesterday will be a very dark day for Congress. And every single person that voted to do this, it need to be remembered as villains and horrible people for the rest of eternity. Because honestly, this is a very awful thing that happened last night. We'll have to see if people can fight and still take care of things for people. In some ways, we've got to bond together and take care of each other if the government is not going to continue to help people healthcare wise. I don't know. It's going to be very dark. And some of the people that are on the edges of things that are in very bad medical positions are going to be in very big trouble right now in the United States. It's too bad. It's really, really too bad. This is part of the reason why we don't need to be becoming part of their country, is because they don't know how to run their country right. And once again, there's an election this week in Ontario. Everybody needs to get out and vote. There was too many people that didn't vote in the last one. 67% of people did not vote in Ontario the last time. And Doug Ford got 20% of the vote, and that considered a majority. So just imagine if more of us would actually fucking go vote in Ontario, the difference the election would be. Well, you still have time today and tomorrow. The election is tomorrow, and y'all need to go and vote. Just go and vote. I don't give a shit. And people that say, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't anything. Well, it didn't matter last time. Yeah, it did, because too many of y'all said it didn't matter, and not enough people showed up. So vote, Ontario. I don't care. And vote against the PC, because the PC are working hand in hand with Trump and them, and they're going to do things to mess this country up too. If we go with the progressive conservative party and Doug Ford, it's a really bad idea. Same with Pierre Poilievre. So vote in coalition against them with whichever side, as far as NDP or Liberal, is the best chance against a PC government in your riding. This is a serious thing. Seriously, I'm not joking around. Every single Ontarian, if you do not vote in this election, I'm going to blame you for if there anything evil or fucked up happens. I'm telling you right now. So get out there and vote, and tell 10, 20, 30 other people in your life that you run into to go vote also. Go drive people to the voting poll if you have to, if they can't get there. If you're an employer or an employee, ask your employer or your employee to go vote and say, I'm going to vote, and I have a right to, and I need to leave work for a little while to go vote. And it needs to happen either today or tomorrow, because you can't vote after tomorrow. So make your plan and go get it done now. 67% of Ontarians did not vote in the last election, and it was a big fuck up. So we need to get out there and vote. I don't give a shit. Go in there and just mark one, but don't mark Doug Ford's name. That's what I'll say. Or the conservatives, seriously, because they're the ones that are going to drag us into a mess with the United States if you're not careful. They're talking like they're tough against them, but they're not. They will sell us out behind closed doors, just like they sold out Ontario Place, the Science Center, and they tried to sell out the Greenbelt. So it's just the damn truth. They're about the money. They're the same fucking criminals that Trump and Elon Musk are, Doug Ford and Pierre Poilievre. So if you want to vote for that kind of fucking bullshit up on our side of the country, up on our side of the continent, no, fuck that. You do not want that shit. No, seriously, you do not want that shit. Seriously. All right, let's see. Trevor saying, I love how we played last night. Despite the loss, I'm seeing good basketball from very talented rookies. Yeah, last night was a good game. You know, the Celtics played, we've played the Celtics 4 times this year. We beat them once. Now, one of the games we could have beaten them, but there was some bullshit with Jason Tatum, and travel was actually an offensive foul. He pushed off on the defender to make room, and that should have been an offensive foul. That should have been called. That was in the two-minute report afterwards. That game was close, and we honestly could call that a moral victory. In some ways, they wanted to manipulate the Celtics to win in that game earlier in the season. Now, the other 2 games that we played them, one of them was a complete blowout, was embarrassing. The other one was the one last night. And the thing about the one last night, because we beat them the last time we played them, is that they played at the highest level, kind of like when they blew us out completely around Christmas. They played at a very high level last night. The Celtics were hitting on all cylinders, and they were playing really, really good. Like this is like Cleveland and Oklahoma City and Memphis. When we've seen them this year, I've said these teams are really good. And well, the Celtics were like that last night. And the thing was, we were hanging with them. Now, if you think about when we played Oklahoma City, we played Memphis, we played Cleveland, they dominated us and they routed us in every game. Well, we played that level of play last night. We only lost by 10. And in fact, we were hanging with them the whole entire game for the most part. There were certain things that they do really, really well, perfectly, and they really capitalize on your turnovers and really make you pay for them. So there was a lot of things we could have cleaned up. And like Darko said, if we just got a couple more threes, like we had 23s against the Suns, he said if we could have just saved a couple of them for this game and brought 3 of them over for this game, we would have won this game. Because we only made 5 threes last night, and they made like 15 or something. That's a huge difference right there. 3-point shooting was a huge, huge problem. Now, there's things that we didn't do last night that I wish we had done, and that's overuse Scotty in the post. It seemed like, man, we had such an advantage with Scotty and his size, and no Horford and no Porzingis out there, that we should have been just killing them down low, going inside every single time with Scotty beating them up down low. But they started playing Peyton Pritchard on him, and they were trying to front him and keep him out of the paint and being really like a doorstop. Peyton Pritchard was doing that Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet kind of small man defense on a big man as being a doorstop, and it's annoying. So in that case, I think that Scott didn't need to try and attack himself from the outside, dribbling in to get to inside for mid-range. No, he needed to go inside and do the old school set in the low post with his back to the basket with that little guy on his back and get position without the ball and have Emmanuel or Jamal feed him the ball from the outside. That's what I wish they had done. Maybe RJ could have fed him too because he's been doing it for Chris recently. But why we didn't do that? Scotty was so money in there, and we saw a certain fire. In fact, he was the one who ate up the first 10-point lead and got us tied and ahead of them in the second quarter because he put us on his back, and he just went at them so aggressively. There was a certain level of fire in Scotty Barnes last night that we had not seen yet that was a competitor, and it was signified by the clapping that he was doing and the very on top of things and very like into the game and very fiery. And when he makes some of those shots, the intensity of him yelling and the fierceness, he was a little scary at times with his face and just how crazy, he was. It was awesome. I love seeing it. And in some ways, I'm saying that last night, once again, this season, Scotty Barnes has leveled up. He's leveled up as an NBA player. And he showed us some stuff that okay, yeah, you're going to be able to dominate people offensively soon. In some ways, the telltale signs of you being able to do these turnaround mid-range shots and bully your way to the basket and make layups over people. I know you love doing that shit from Twitch. Watching you play the video game, little baby on my back. I'm gonna beat this little baby up in the lane. Well, let's do it in real life, Scott. You've got the skills, and you showed that you could against people like who was guarding you last night. I mean, honestly, the door was wide open for you. As much as things were wide open for Grady Dick on Sunday against the Suns, because they don't play no defense, so you could have wide open threes. Well, with no centers for the Celtics, it was wide open for Scott to go down low and eat them for lunch. But alas, they went away from it in the second half. And they asked Scotty, why were you not going down low more in the press conference after the game? And he said they did make adjustments. They did make adjustments, and they did try and keep him away from doing that action. So the Celtics were very much trying to keep him out of there. But, yeah, it was a fantastic game. I totally agree with Trevor that they played at a very high level. The 27 assists that they got as a team last night signifies this. And, they just didn't shoot threes. The three-point discrepancy is a huge part of why they lost. They make 15 threes. We make 5. And it's a 10-point loss. You do the math. That's pretty good. We actually beat them in all other categories because of that. Seriously, because at 10 more threes, that's 30 points, but we lost by 10. You do the math. Where's that other 20 points? That's us beating them up down low in the paint and doing everything else all right and correctly. So I have to say, without Pirtle and without Ingram on the court, the Raptors, and I know they didn't have guys too, and it was important. And in some ways that made it more even. We have a lot with our guys that's going to be able to compete with top teams in this league. If that's the Celtics, and that's they played really well. They didn't play bad. The time we beat them this year, they didn't play well. When we beat the Celtics in the regular season this year, they didn't play well. So I'm really happy with how we played the Celtics this year overall. We got a win in the regular season. We beat them in the preseason also. So we beat them 2 out of the 6 times we played them this season. And one of the games where they beat us was barely at the end, and it was on a cockamamie non-call that they got it. And in some ways, they shouldn't have won that one. Hey, the Red Squirrel's back. Hey, little buddy. Red Squirrel, you're back. I hadn't seen him in 2 months. They've been hibernating. The Red Squirrel's in my yard. I guess it's thawed enough. I'm so happy to see him. All right, let's keep going in the chat. Trevor's giving us our Black History moment for the day. Jim Tucker came off the bench on February 20th, 1955 to notch the fastest triple-double in NBA history. Tucker scored 12 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists in just 17 minutes to set the record that stood for 60 years until Nikola Jokic set the new record in 2018. Fantastic factoid here, Trevor J. I love to hear this. The fastest triple-double in history was in 1955 by Jim Tucker. Very, very, very cool. Very, very cool. Interesting one. Thank you, Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J. For fun factoid. I love it. Trevor's saying the Grizzlies beat Phoenix in overtime, 151-148. I'm not surprised by that, other than they got to overtime, that the Grizzlies didn't just blow them out. That's what's surprising to me right there. Smooth saying the Sixers media is in a frenzy. Wow. They're saying that surgery could keep Joel Embiid out for up to 12 months. Well, whatever, man. In some ways, this is the thing. This guy don't take care of himself correctly as an athlete. In some ways, he's a huge lumbering body that is in some ways not athletic, guys. He may be able to do a lot of different things athletically with his size, but in some ways, it's still not an athlete's body because it breaks down too easy. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. And in some ways, your bones and your joints get wretched out and all messed up. And obviously, his knees all messed up and shot. So honestly, this is the other thing I'll say. Joel Embiid's career may be over soon, guys. Seriously. This is a crazy thing. He's going to continue to get hurt over and over again. He may not ever be able to physically play again correctly. And I wouldn't even trust him like after this surgery. If it's going to take him a year to come back, well, who knows how long that you take that time, he'll come back. We may not see the same Joel Embiid by then. I'm telling you, man, this is crazy. The process has been a failure, and the Sixers, they're feeling it right now. They put all their eggs in the basket of Joel Embiid, and well, they're getting burned for it at this point. Seriously, Smooth saying Paul George said they don't have the compete level. Yo, you should be looking in the mirror. You're going to say that. I've always thought that Paul George was overrated. The fans, the players like him because they like to steal his moves and they think that he's fun to watch. It's like a comedian's comedian. They like the jokes of the comedian. He's funny, but he's not popular. He's not HBO. He's not this or that, but he's funny to me. Yeah, he's like the player's player. In some ways, there's been guys like this. Carmelo's another one that the players idolize. They're like, I love Carmelo. I love Paul George. But they didn't never do jack shit to win in some ways in their careers. It's just that they're scores. It's just their scores. And Paul George has been that. His most successful part of his career was in Indiana. And how long ago was that? That seems like 2-3 lifetimes ago when Paul George was in Indiana Pacers and doing the most important things that he ever did in his career in postseason. So, yeah, it's like he's a wash, bro. In some ways, if you can't do this with this cast and this team, after being in Clippers and not being able to do it there, you're not going to be able to do it anywhere, my guy, because you've had good people next to you, Russell and Kawhi and James and now Joel and Tyrese, and your shit ain't just doing nothing, man. Paul George, you're washed too, bro. I think that's the thing. Tyrese Maxey's the only one that's at Philadelphia that's not washed between Joel and Paul George. They're washed. I'm telling you right now. That man ain't got no compete himself. Seriously, I don't know what he's doing. He's just taking money in the NBA. That's all he's doing in his life. He's a successful NBA player because he made millions of dollars and he played and he accumulated stats, but he ain't done jack shit to win. That's what I say about Paul George right there. Yeah. Kareem saying, man, what a beautiful thing to have a guy like Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench. I hate him. He looks like the youngest brother from Malcolm in the Middle. You think he looks like Dewey? That's funny. I'm going to give you a dunk for that. Dewey's Adriana's favorite. We've been binge watching Malcolm in the Middle recently, which is funny that you brought this up because we've been watching all the episodes recently. We're almost done. And, yeah, her favorite is Dewey. Dewey's a pretty funny little character. Malcolm in the Middle got really dark in the last season. In fact, I hate it by the end of it. And no wonder it kind of went down the tubes because the writers got really sick and gross. In some ways, I want to say this. Malcolm in the Middle had a bad contribution to society. I'm going to say this right now because it celebrated and endorsed barbaric hatred and cruelty to people. And in some ways, the way the world is right now is indicative of an echoing from Malcolm in the Middle and the fucking bad cruelty that was shown. In fact, in the last season of Malcolm in the Middle, you see elder abuse in a lot of episodes. And the way that the brothers treat each other, sure, it's true to form in society with brothers and stuff like that. But seriously, some of the messaging in Malcolm in the Middle in the last season was very dark and grim and not right. And in the context of today's society, it's very difficult. Also, the other thing is rewatching Malcolm in the Middle makes you get a lot of economic kind of anxiety because they go through a lot of episodes where they're getting hospital bills and fines for their kids being delinquents and they have no money. Well, just imagine 20 years ago and the economy was way better. The world of Malcolm in the Middle in today's economy with today's prices and today's problem, that show would be totally different. They'd be living in a shack out near a burning drum and they wouldn't have no house. They wouldn't have nothing because that's the way it is now. Yeah, anyway, a little aside, since you brought up Malcolm in the Middle, I gave you a dunk. He does look like Dewey all grown up. Peyton Pritchard. He does look like Dewey. He is annoying too. Thank God he was missing his shot last night, but he was able to help and contribute to the team and still got 20 points anyway. even if he wasn't hitting his three like he usually does against us. Yeah, he's annoying, man. He's very, very annoying. Very annoying. Yeah, Blackhawk is laughing about Kareem. It is a funny quote. Smooth saying one of the options is to re-break his hip and realign it. This is to relieve pressure on his knee. It's experimental, though. They're going to do experimental break his hip surgery. Wow, that sounds like that couldn't go wrong. Seriously. Okay. You know what? In some ways, I'll just echo what Jack Armstrong said. You get what you get. You get what you get. That's the best thing to say when it happens with Joel Embiid. You're going to fall around and be dangerous to everybody else. Well, it's only right that you have some sort of injury problem because you've injured other people carelessly yourself. So you get what you get is what I got to say. Mugabe's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Mugabe, original Raptor Freak. Let's see what he's going on with Mugabe, man. The Raptors are going to beat the Pacers. I can bet on that because the Pacers are a fraud. Everyone's jacking up shots, and they have Pascal as a spot-up shooter. Siakam, as I said, he's saying on his Instagram right now, you can go look at his stories, he's tired. The All-Star break has tired him out, and he's not in his right place. So I don't know why he's making preemptive excuses. I don't know. Siakam loves the Raptors so much. We are 2-0 against them right now. If there's no Halliburton tonight, and Siakam is the main runner for the Pacers tonight, and Siakam's like, I love the Raptors. I love Jakob. I love Scotty. Scotty's favorite player in the league is me. Okay, Siakam, are you okay? I'm tired from All-Star break, guys. Why are you not making your shots? I'm tired from All-Star break. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe something like this could happen. Mugabe's saying we're going to win because the Pacers are a fraud. That's what he's saying. I'll tell you what, the Raptors are not a fraud. The Raptors last night played like such a team. I was saying this in the chat last night, that the Raptors in the game last night may have been playing the most together, connected team kind of play ever in their history. In the whole entire 30 years of the franchise, I feel like this Raptors team is the most connected, best vibes, chemistry, and I totally give all the credit to Darko and the way he set this team up to play for each other and play with each other as far as like wanting to see each other succeed. And then also the trust and the communication and the way they're playing on defense is absolutely 10 out of 10. And I don't think we've ever had a team like this on our team exactly like this. The championship team was older and vet, and they had a lot of experience, and they played very well together. But this is different, man. This is like Grizzlies vibes from 2 years ago with Dylan Brooks is what I'm talking about. When they were all dancing and all happy, and they do all the fun stuff the Grizzlies were doing when Darko was still their assistant coach. And that's the thing. We've taken that vibe and that feel, and we've got it in Toronto because these guys are all for one and one for all. They really do love each other, and they're playing all out for each other on a level that I've never seen in the Raptors franchise in the 30 years. Is right now. And it's all the credit in the world to Coach Rajakovic for cultivating that kind of positive teamwork environment because it is top-notch. And we saw it against a top-notch defending champion NBA team last night, against a very high-level competition, and they were playing so well against it. That's why Trevor and I are so proud of our team, even though they lost last night. They were really showing that kind of stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing. Smooth saying that the Lakers beat the Mavs last night. Luka staring down the Mavs bench. It was personal for him. Nico's eyes said it all. Yeah. Did he stare down Nico? Because that's who he should have been staring down. He shouldn't have been staring down the bench. His teammates didn't do nothing to him. He should be staring down Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavericks. And yeah, the Lakers fans chanted, "Thank you, Nico," during the game. That's crazy, man. Thank you, Nico. Yeah, see, collusion. Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison are still hanging out together afterwards and enjoying it. It's like the Lakers have two GMs. One runs the Mavericks, and he's just helping them as a satellite team. Yeah, if I was a Mavericks fan, I'd want Nico fired right away also. I would. But you know what? It's not like their owners are nice, benevolent people like Mark Cuban used to be. No, they're genocidal maniacs who don't give a shit about what the world wants. If they're going to kill more Palestinians, they will. And if they're going to be putting Mavericks fans through crap, they don't care. They're not humanitarians. They don't give a shit about their people. Obviously, they don't give a shit about their fans. And they're horrible people. They're genocidal maniacs that endorse the war on Palestine and genocide. So, yeah, why would they give a shit about their own fans? And Nico Harrison, they love him. He's like their Netanyahu and their fucking team. Seriously. So, yeah, it's a mess. And Mark Cuban, man, I don't know if you regret selling your team. Maybe you do, because honestly, you were a real one, and you probably don't like what you're seeing now with what they've done. I'd be very curious to hear Mark Cuban talk about what happened with Luka Doncic and hear what all of his opinions are on the state of the Mavericks right now. Because honestly, if it was on his watch, none of this shit would have happened. None of this shit would have happened. That's right. That's right. Nico, I said it all. Why was he gleaming with pride? He fucked up his franchise that he works for to help a team that he worked for Kobe Bryant before, and he wants to help his old friend Pelinka out. That's what it looks like to me. Monique is here. Mo was at the game last night. Thank you, Mo, for coming down the game with the good vibes, and cool to see your picture at the pop-up, the Adidas pop-up store. Very, very cool. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Great battle versus the Celtics. I feel like that was too. We went toe-to-toe. I never really felt like it was a blowout. You know, in some ways, the Celtics did handle us in pretty good ways, but we were also doing pretty good things against them. And I want to say this. Darko was very glowing about Jason Tatum after the game, saying that he thinks he's the best player in the league on the best team. Now, I won't go that far, but he's a huge fan of his. But I will say this. Jason Tatum had his best game against the Raptors in many years. Honestly, usually when he plays the Raptors, he sucks. He's like very, very inefficient. He'll shoot like 4 for like 24 or something like that and have a ton of turnovers. But last night, Jason Tatum had one of his best games against the Raptors in his career. He really was that efficient and that on top of things. And I have to give him kudos for that. I think he's a fraud in some ways. People say, oh, he's this and that, like Darko did. But to me, he's inconsistent. And for the most part, a lot of times he's not very efficient. But he was last night. I have to give him credit. He had one of his better games against the Raptors ever, honestly, with how he played. So it does. You got to give him some credit for that. Well, let's go look on the other side, and I'll give my stars of the game. My number one star of the game last night is Scotty, and it's because he leveled up. He really did show, once again, he let some of the cat out of the bag as far as how powerful he is on offense and what he should be doing. I was like, man, why don't you do this all the time? It's so gratifying to watch. It must be gratifying to do. You know, the way you're going up over people and just making shots over them, the way you're crashing the boards, the way you're forced around the basket, the mid-range turnarounds, you know, all this stuff is so good, Scott. In fact, the way that it seemed like everything was wide open for you to do whatever you want against this Celtics team without Porzingis, I don't understand why we didn't just do this the whole entire game. Seriously. Yeah, I get it. The three-point shot's important, and they're killing us with it the other way. But in some ways, you know, if we can make a point every single time down the court and stop them from scoring every other time down the court, we can beat them with 2s over 3s. It's just that you've got to carry us, literally carry us and go at it and go to them. But Scotty was awesome. He got 21 points in 34 minutes. I wish he'd scored 50 last night. Honestly, Scotty, that's what you need to do. You want to make a name for yourself, put 50 on the defending champs and scare the hell out of them and beat them. Seriously, you beat them down low, bully them the hell out of them. You could have got 50 last night. It was there for you to go feast on. In some ways, I know you get tired, and it's easier said than done, Lex. But I'm telling you, man, when these opportunities with mismatches, because it's like, look, they put Keita on you. He's too slow. You go right around him. They put Peyton on you. He's too small. You go up over him. That's the thing. You can beat any single defender in this league. It's only when they come with the double and the triple, you got to throw out of it and pass to other people. And you did that when that happened last night. And they did start doing that to you in the second half. They started sending the double, and then you have to pass out of it. And you're perfect for that because you already love doing that. And that's your good out for that. Now, another thing I saw that you guys are doing last night, and Jonathan, Rob, and Scotty were all guilty of this at one point, is y'all would get the ball in the lane all of a sudden without a defender near you. And then all of a sudden you throw it out to the corner to like a three-point shooter. Y'all had the position right near the basket, and all you need to do was elevate and shoot the shot and put the ball in the basket. Why are y'all throwing it back out to the three-point shot when I know it's analytics bullshit, but you seriously had 2 points right there, and you throw it out to Mobo, he's going to shoot a 3, and he misses it. I wish you'd just take it up in the lane, Scott. When you get right in the lane, nobody's near you. You need to just go up with it. Don't pass it back out. In some ways, the old rules of old basketball that they don't use anymore, I don't know why, is when you get that kind of level of penetration and closeness and proximity to the basket, you need to elevate. And when you throw it back out, that just goes against all the basketball philosophy that I was taught when I was a kid in the NBA. Hubie Brown would be saying, oh, you don't give up the low post easy shot for the outside 3. You go up right there. And there were 3 times at least I saw in the game last night where Scotty, Orlando Robinson, and Jonathan Mobo all passed up an easy shot in the lane where nobody was guarding them for passing it back out to somebody to try and shoot a three. This is annoying the hell out of me. This is annoying the hell out of me. And maybe that's what Darko wants because he wants more three-point shots. But I think y'all need to just take the easy two when it's presented to you, when it's right there. I'm serious because I'm sick of this shit. So Scotty shot 7 of 14, a great 50% shooting. He did miss all 5 of his threes, and that's what I'm saying, Scott. you miss all 5 threes, go inside, cohabitate down low, and go down there and take it to them and live in the paint. Seriously. 7 of 9 free throws for Scott. 3 rebounds. So you could have got more rebounds. 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, -6 with 21 points. You could have had 30 points last night. Leo Routon said it at halftime. Scotty, you're doing anything you want down low. You need to continue to do this in the second half. Unfortunately, that didn't totally happen. The dominance of Scotty in the second quarter did not carry over in the second half as much as I would have liked it to. Seriously, I know all y'all would have liked to see that show more too. That's what the fans want, Scott. Give the fans what they want. RJ Barrett was my second star of the game. RJ was carrying. RJ was a mixed bag. In some ways, RJ's last turnover kind of ended the game for us. It was a very casual kind of bad, like dribble, bad turnover. This kind of stuff happens. We're going to have like careless turnovers. There was a turnover last night the camera didn't even catch because sometimes the camera people are really bad with where they put the focus. I don't know who's directing the TSN broadcast, but keep the ball on the live ball and stop missing key things that happen by replay or interviews on the sideline or just showing casually Jaylen Brown on the bench getting his sent to when the game's actually in, because you missed a turnover that happened in the game that was a rookie mistake where an inbounds was coming to Jamal Shed. He didn't see it, and it bounced off his shoulder and went out of bounds, and we lost the ball. The fans didn't see it because it wasn't on TV. I saw it developing, and it happened off camera, and then they came back, and all of a sudden Boston had possession. I was like, why did that happen? Because there was a little rookie screw up with Jamal Shed at that moment, and we didn't see it clearly because there was a misdirection on an inbounds pass where it bounced off his shoulder and went out of bounds. Yeah, there were a couple of really bad turnovers that were just silly and stupid. Stuff like, Orlando Robinson getting a 3-point, 3-second violation. He got called for a travel also. There were a couple of really just poor turnovers, and they killed us, especially in the first quarter. They set the tone for us being behind by 10 because we couldn't take care of the ball. And the Celtics feast off of scoring off turnovers. They'll come back down the court and hit a threes real quick. So we had to limit the turnovers. We did way better with the turnovers as the game went on. But to start the game, we had really, really poor turnovers. Now, RJ had a bad turnover, an unforced turnover near the end of the game in the last 2 minutes when we could have had a chance to still win, but that unraveled everything. And then they grew the lead, and the game wasn't serious after that. And in some ways, that just happened. But RJ was good overall. Once again, he's a money guy for us. 33 minutes, 10-16 from the field. I love that kind of shooting. So efficient. 10 of 16. He was 1 of 5 from 3. I could have swore he made more than 1 3. 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 8 rebounds for RJ, 3 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers. As I said, he had some bad turnovers at times. -15 with 22 points in 33 minutes. So Scotty and RJ were the only 2 Raptors that scored 20 points. And the Celtics had 3 guys who scored 20 points. Also, the Raptors only had 4 guys in double digits, and that was a problem. That's a real problem. Grady and Emmanuel in particular were not shooting well last night. Both of them were not at their best with shooting the shot. Grady missed some wide open shots, and Emmanuel just couldn't buy a basket, 0 for 6 from 3. So my third star of the game last night is the energy setter, the guy who had a really good game against the Suns on Sunday, Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher came into the game for only 14 minutes last night, 4 of 6 from the field. He missed both his 3-point attempts, 2 offensive rebounds, 1 steal, 8 points, 1 turnover, a +7 in 14 minutes. So he had a winning effect on the game and the energy. And I'm also giving him this third star partly on his excellence that he's been having recently in all kinds of different ways. So there's my 3 stars of the game: Boucher, Barrett, Barnes, Barrett, and Boucher. That's right. Yeah, there's some honorable mentions there too. Shed was an honorable mention. 3 of 5 in 18 minutes. Missed both his threes. 2 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 turnover, also a block, and 6 points, a -8 in 18 minutes. Jacoby wasn't bad either. Oshai was actually pretty good too. 24 minutes for Oshai, 3 of 5 from the field. He made both his threes. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 8 points, a +3 for Oshai. So he must have been doing something good. Orlando wasn't bad off the bench. 2 of 2 from the field. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 points. He did have 3 turnovers. That was probably the worst part of it. And Jacoby, 3 of 8 from the field, 0 for 2. But Jacoby had some good, solid scores. And the thing about Jacoby is he takes his time. Like there's some scores that he made in the paint where a younger player like him would have rushed it and missed the shot. But he's very measured and very smart. And I really have a lot of faith in Jacoby to finish shots when he has it near the ball in the lane, even if there's tall defenders around him, because he actually uses pump fakes. He actually uses pump fakes. You don't see people using pump fakes anymore, hardly ever, young players, but he does. He knows how to throw people off and go up and elevate and make the shots. And, like Jack said, in that one play where he drove the basket and he didn't make it, he's going to make that in the future because he's going to be better and better. And, man, Jacoby has so much potential, guys. I'm telling you. In some ways, I don't want to compare him to Norman Powell because he could be even better than Norman Powell. But there's a lot of things about Norman Powell and his role on our team in past years that Jacoby Walter could be filling in the next couple of years. Let's just put it that way. And he will be a starter eventually. I think that Jacoby is going to be a really, really good NBA player by the end of it because in some ways he's already got a head start at his age. And he really knows how to play ball the right way. I'm just saying, him and Shed are very impressive for that. Those two guys in particular are not normal rookies. They really, really aren't because they understand the little things about basketball and they do them. A lot of young players don't do the little things anymore. They just want to do the big things that are flashy and scory and three-point shots, but not Jacoby and Jamal and even Grady. And those were indicative in some of the plays, like when Grady was falling out of bounds and he threw the ball behind his back with his left hand to save it. That was an amazing play. That was like new age Kurt Rambis shit. And it shows just how worldly he is as far as aware of what's going on the court and what he needs to do. And it also shows the all-out effort he'll do. That play was fantastic. It was like Matt Devlin said, 10 out of 10 play. And then Jacoby had a weird play like that too, where he saved the possession and he was falling over one of the Celtics and he kept dribbling and he kept the ball from going out of bounds and saved it. These are the little things I'm talking about. The little things. Or Jamal Shed fighting with Derek White last night and getting a strip on him. These are the little things. These are not the things that are going to get on a stat sheet. They're not necessarily going to get you cred or a look around. People that don't really know basketball won't see it. And that's what I'm saying. These guys are doing the little things that not everybody likes to do, and they're doing it already when they're young, and they have the wherewithal to understand it. And they're only going to get smarter at doing this shit because they're only like 19, 20 years old. Grady and Jacoby and Jamal. It's a fantastic thing, man. Jonathan Moe, mixed bag in the starting lineup. He had his moments. He had a little dunk in there in the lane for one of his baskets. 2 of 4 from the field. He missed both his 3-point attempts. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a -14 with 4 points. Yeah, I understand why they started him over O-Rob because Porzingis was out and it was a small lineup going at it. And it was weird that the Celtics started Torrey Craig at center. And I didn't realize he had came to their team, being bought out by the Bulls and coming to the Celtics like that. Yeah, I don't know if that addition's that flashy to me. But the Celtics did it for a reason, but I don't know if it's going to really matter in the end. Yeah, Emmanuel was tough, man. 4 for 13. Really tough shooting night for him. He was scorching in the last game. I mean, he was trying to contribute other ways if he wasn't going to make his three in certain ways, like with 6 rebounds and 7 assists. In fact, we did a really good job on the rebounds last night. 2 turnovers for Emmanuel also. But yeah, just 10 points. And in some ways, he or Dick should have been the guys that got to 20 points to match the 3 20-point scores on the other side. Emmanuel, if he had made some of his threes and gotten to 20 points, we would have won the game last night. Same thing with Grady. Grady had been able to make 5 of the misses threes that he made. Some of those, we would have won the game last night because it was that close. Yeah, so Grady and Emmanuel shooting 2 of 13 from 3 really hurt us last night. And Scotty, add that to that is 2 of 18. 2 of 18. Then you add RJ on top of that. That's 3 of 23. 3 out of 23 shooting for the starters. Oh, and then you add Jonathan on that, 3 out of 25. The starters shot 3 for 25 from 3. Absolutely dreadful. Some of those have got to go in. Yeah, Grady, 4 for 10, 2 of 7 from 3, 12 points, a -16, the worst plus minus on the team last night. 5 rebounds, though, 1 assist and 2 steals. I do like Grady's new attention on getting boards. He really is refocused on helping with the boards. And as the broadcast said in recent games, I think it was Alvin and them on Sunday, that Grady's got the height to go get boards. He should be in there getting rebounds and getting some good rebounding stats. So on the other side, I'll give a little kudos. Jason Tatum, as we said, with the 19 points on a plus 20 with 11 assists. Fantastic stuff, 7 of 18. Jaylen Brown, very strong. He didn't shoot well in the beginning, and I was making jokes that man's too strong now, and he messed up his shot. Of course, Jaylen Brown likes to carry rocks at the bottom of a pool to work out and get stronger. He does. He wears like scuba gear and walks around on the bottom of pools with huge, heavy things, and that's how he works out. It's crazy. But yeah, he's really evolved. He's a very strong guy at this point. Very, very strong player. And man, he just got really big this year. It's crazy. Derek White's a genius. He's annoying. 6 of 11 from 3 was really, really annoying by Derek White. Yeah, and then, of course, Pritchard off the bench, getting 20 points, even though he didn't shoot well from 3. 4 of 13. That dude took 13 threes. That's so crazy, man. So crazy. But, yeah, it is what it is. The Celtics beat us. They're the defending champs. They win the season series 3-1. But it is what it is. What can you do? What can you say? Scotty, good job leveling up again. You showed us something. And in some ways, because you show us stuff, we want to see it. We know you can do it. We want to see it more. We really do. Let's see. Kareem saying, I would like a Masai Bobby to engage more with Nico Harrison. He seems very giving and a Christian man. He's doing Lord's work. Possibly Davis for Orlando Robinson. Sounds crazy, but Nico's a nice guy. Yeah, I will say this. I think that's only a special arrangement that he will do for the Lakers because there's collusion and he's a former employee of Kobe Bryant. I think that it's all that. I don't think he'd do those kind of moves with us. I don't think he would. No, I know you're joking around, and it's funny. It is funny. But I think that's because it's a special collusion relationship, Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison being best friends. It's like, it just looks disgusting from the outside. It's like, how can you have a man be in charge of a team that's not even looking out for it? This is kind of like Putin and Trump. It's like, all right, let's like use it as the same example. There's a lot of words that out there that Trump is actually a Russian agent, that his code name is Krasnov. You can go look it up, Krasnov, and that he was recruited in the 80s by the Russians and to be an infiltrator in the U.S. government and to cause chaos. And that's basically what he's done. So, and everything shows that this is actually true because of the way he treats Russia and Putin, the way he kisses his ass, the way he's really about to try and hand over Ukraine to them. So we need to understand that this is kind of like Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison went to run the Dallas Mavericks. It's like Trump went to run the United States, and he's doing it for the Lakers, and he's doing it for Russia. So it's the same thing. And that's the thing that people need to realize, that a lot of the chaos, and Elon's very close to Vladimir also. So it's all right out there in the open. I mean, I don't understand how Americans are so stupid that they can't understand that Donald Trump is a puppet for Vladimir Putin. And his goal was to just undermine American democracy and destroy it like he's doing right now. And the MAGA people and the people that support Trump they're basically helping Vladimir Putin with his evil and what he was trying to do from there. And these are people that spent most of their lives hating Putin and Russia. And now they're like little cheerleaders for the whole thing. It's really gross and disgusting. Nico is like this. I'm using this as an example. I think it's very applicable. That Nico Harrison was never supposed to be a GM of the Mavericks. He's been horrible at it. And in some ways, he's just been waiting to help the Lakers when he could. And getting Luka to the Lakers was a huge move to help them. So, yeah, Carlos saying, morning, Lex and Philip Freaks. Good morning to you, Kaloy. Thank you for voting in the Ontario provincial government election. And I hope that everybody who lives in Ontario is going to vote today. Nameless, all y'all. Nobody taken on the sideline. Y'all need to go vote and vote for the orange or the red, or orange or the red are usually the right choice, depending on who has the best shot to unseat or hurt the PC government. Because that's the thing. We don't do this, we're going to be in trouble. We need strong leaders who are going to fight against them. And it's not the PCs. They're trying to act like they're going to be tough against Trump, but they're lying. They will turn around and let him run roughshod over them. So we need people that are left-leaning to fight the right-leaning, because everything right-leaning right now is going towards fascism and Nazi kind of shit. And that's why you can't afford to vote for Poilievre. You can't afford to vote for Ford, because they cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. They've already shown that they can't be trusted. Ford can't be trusted because he just sold Ontario Place. He tried to sell the Greenbelt. And that's all about this. And that's what the U.S. government's all about right now is that. And well, that's the thing right there. That's all I have to say about it. Drop the mic. I'm just going to go heavy on it for the next 2 days because tomorrow's voting day. And if you live in Ontario, if you're a Raptors fan and you live in Ontario, you need to go vote. You need to go vote. Just go do it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how apathetic you are. You need to help everybody, the whole entire world, and especially Canada right now. Canada is in a situation that's uncomfortable and not nice right now. And the way to help it is to vote left because right-wing zealots are trying to take over the world right now. Germany did a good job with their election. They held off the Nazi party, but they still have a percentage of say in their government, and they have to continue to fight them off. But a big victory for Germany. And that's the thing. The party that was endorsed by Elon Musk was defeated. And it's a Nazi party, y'all. It's a straight up Nazi party. That's what I'm saying. When I call them Nazis, it's not fucking bullshit. He's doing Nazi salutes and he's endorsing Nazi parties in Germany. So I'm just saying, Elon Musk endorses Pierre Poilievre. Elon Musk endorses the PC government up here. So you go ahead and connect the dots and do the math. If he's putting money funneling into Canadian politics to get you to vote for Poilievre, Elon wants you to vote for Poilievre. Are you going to follow Elon and the bullshit he's doing right here and right now? No, you shouldn't. You should not. Trust me right now. Yeah, trust me on this. Kareem saying the irritation thing I had yesterday was that Jack called the inbound lob after the TV timeout while Pat fucking Delaney sat on his hands and couldn't foresee a switch, leaving shed on Neemias Queta. All right. Well, I don't know why you come in straight bullet at Pat Delaney because he's the defensive coach. No, you know what that is? That's just really good execution of an inbounds play. Sure, Jack called it. Sure, Jack sees it. I'm sure the Raptors coaches saw it too, and they probably warned those guys. But we have to remember, we have a very young team out there that don't know what they're doing, and sometimes they're going to have a lesson like that, and that's all that was. That wasn't anybody's fault other than the players that were on the court not reading the play and getting the right spots. I'm sure they told them that they needed to watch out for that, but they didn't understand exactly how it was going to come or how to actually defend it exactly. So you can't blame Pat Delaney. It could very well be Darko and them know, just like Jack does, and they told them, yeah, they're going to try and do a lob because of the time on the clock, and it's probably going to be Queta. But they did a really good design, Coach Joe, to get what they got for the Celtics. And in some ways, the youth of our team, the rookies that were out there, they just didn't know how to guard that play, and they got caught surprised. So I can't do this. I'm not going to throw Pat Delaney on the bus on this. There's no reason to put a stray bullet in him because honestly, the first thing you should blame for this is the Raptors' inexperience because we have a young core and there's rookies involved in this. Let's just put it that way. That's what I say about that. Kareem saying, yesterday I witnessed the most nonchalant turnover ever, non-deflected passes, just straight up bad decisions. Darko should run the 3-man weave all morning today. I mean, listen, I'm going to disagree with you on this one too. Because honestly, they played so well off of each other. The things that were happening with some of the turnovers were forced by the other team. They were very aggressive, and they made us mess up with some of the passes. The other thing is that the Celtics are really good at getting in the passing lane, and they'll bait you into making a pass you think is fair, but it's not. And they jump in the passing lane, and they're running the other way. Derek White in particular, Peyton Pritchard, those two guys are ball hawks. And if they see you throw a weak-ass pass to somebody, they'll jump in there and just steal it. That was half the turnovers right there. The other ones were just dumb things, like that travel that RJ got was so silly. It was like Emmanuel gave him the ball and he was coming up the court really fast, but his footwork was all screwy with his beat, and he caught the ball and then he tried and put his dribble down, and Nick Booker called a travel on him right away. And I mean, that was the right call. He was a travel, but it was just that RJ's rhythm was all off when he caught that ball, and then there's a really bad turnover late in the game, and it's very crucial. It's a weird thing. You know, we could look at it two ways. Like RJ had that bad pass. In some ways, it was Emmanuel giving it to him in a weird rhythm, and then he couldn't catch the ball with his footwork the right way to catch his dribble, so he wouldn't travel. And then the reverse is RJ's giving silver platters to people. Like seriously, RJ's gotten to become such a good passer. And there was that one pass that he set up. I think it was for Abaji or somebody in the lane on fast break. It was just perfectly passed, like silver platter, bounce pass through the lane, bounded defender, and it goes right in the hands of Abaji so that he catches it and he lays it up like so easy. It may have been Abaji or Boucher. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm saying. I don't know. You could focus on the turnovers. They were a problem early. They cleaned them up, but the passing overall for the Raptors was phenomenal last night. Really, really good. Really, really good. Let's see. Stargate saying, did you guys see the most recent Open Gym? It was so good. Great seeing guys like Amir, Jonas, Gravis, DeLon, Dwayne Casey, heck, even Landry Fields. Notice how they never mentioned Nick Nurse, though. Yeah, you know what? They haven't come to the part with Nick yet, really, because that's when Kawhi comes. And they were setting that up for the next episode. All right, I'm going to do my review of Open Gym's episode Legacy that came out on Monday. It was fantastic. I give that show 20 out of 10. I may give a negative 10 out of 10 for Raptors Delight, aka the dark side of the Raptors. But this is the antithesis. This is a beautiful, glorious series that I love so much. I mean, they do it justice. They show it from our side instead of a snarky little assholes side from the other side of the keyboard, toxic little shitheads like the Raptors Delight crew is. That's the difference right there. There's dramatic music. There's better emotional. You get teary-eyed watching Open Gym. You feel it. You feel it inside you. And this episode was so important because it really illustrated something that we've talked about on this channel over the last couple of years about the difficultness of trading players when the Raptors have such a family environment as a franchise. This really, really tackled this so well. And boy, did they blindside me in a good way at the beginning of the episode with the Steve Nash content. I had no idea some of the stuff that they talked about with Steve Nash at the beginning of the Open Gym episode, Legacy, this week, that it was that close to him coming around 2010 when he went to Lakers instead. In some ways, I totally get it. I mean, I talked to Steve myself around 2000 when he was still on the Dallas Mavericks before he even went to the Phoenix Suns in his second stint and got the 2 MVPs. I asked Steve, will you play for the Raptors someday? Me personally, when he was hanging out at the club I worked at because he was dating one of the bartenders. And this is before he even got married and had the twins and got divorced. And that's the whole reason why he didn't come here. He said to me basically straight up, Lex, I don't know if I'll ever play for the Raptors because I'm a West Coast guy. And in some ways, I'm not really East Coast kind of time guy. And also, there's a lot of pressure being one of the best Canadian players ever to play for the Canadian team. And so he said that to me personally, in person, standing next to me. So it was very interesting to see Steve come back around and be on Open Gym this week and saying that he basically said, I would have loved to play for the Raptors, but it didn't work. And partly it was because I had a divorce and my children were in Phoenix and I had to pick a West Coast team. Because it's like I said, his parents are in BC, his family's in the West Coast, and him being on the East Coast. And when he was the coach of the Brooklyn Nets, that was weird because that's not his time zone. So that was a cool little thing. And seeing the jersey being stitched up, in some ways, if Raptors Delight had done that, they wouldn't have made it troll. They would have been like, yeah, too bad you wouldn't have got that. It was done very classy on this. Now, the one part of it I didn't like is Gretzky be involved in it. I mean, it's nice that he did that little video and he tried to get Steve to come play for the Raptors. But right now, Wayne Gretzky is a hot button topic. And in some ways, he's a traitor. And he's not somebody that the Raptors should be putting in their content right now. Because in some ways, people are very much associating him with Trump and turning his back on Canada. And in some ways, Wayne Gretzky's feeling the backlash, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, because this is the thing. I'm telling y'all, you want to associate yourself with the modern day Nazis, you're going to get tarnished, your legacy. And Wayne Gretzky, that's where it's going with you right now, bro. This is the evil side of things. These guys are Nazis. And Wayne Gretzky, you don't want to associate yourself with Nazis. But yeah, I like that he tried to help get him that time. And Steve being very candid and talking about it on the episode is fantastic. Such an added little bonus of a little bit at the beginning. And I wonder why they put that in there, because it's something that nobody's really talked about a whole lot, is the whole thing, how close it was. Well, I wish your head came to Toronto. I know it didn't work because of your kids, but it would have been better than you wasting your time in LA with that bullshit that happened when you went to the Lakers. Honestly, you wasted the end of your career with them trying to do something that just wasn't going to happen. In some ways, it would have been nice to tell the story that the greatest Canadian player so far, he's not going to be soon, is going to got to play for the Raptors at some point in his career. We would have loved that. But in some, we don't need that. Steve Nash is Canadian. He'll always be a part of Canadian basketball no matter what, even if he didn't play for the Raptors. That episode was amazing. That's just the beginning of it, the first 5 minutes. We even got commentary from Coach Casey on the Raptors championship and how he feels about it. And in some ways, that was so healing to hear Casey talk about himself and DeMar and leading up to the championship that we won in 2019. Casey, you said that DeMar had a part in that championship. Well, I'm going to turn around and say you had a huge part in that championship also. and you deserve all the credit. If there was any doubt that Dwayne Casey was salty towards our team for winning a championship and firing him the year before, it's not like that. All hatchets have been buried, and they're fine. He's fine with us, and we love him. And you know what? It also, in the episode, we heard Masai say that he looks at Casey as like the third most father figure in his life. That blew me away when we heard Masai in the car talking about how he's his father, and then there's another mentor, and then like Dwayne Casey is the third most father figure in Masai's life. Casey was not hired by Ujiri. He was there already by Colangelo. And Casey Ujiri let Casey stick around for 8 years around on our team when he could have fired him way earlier because he wanted to implement his own coach. But he liked Casey, and he did see the good things he was doing. And it wasn't until when he did that he had to do it is when he did it. And, man, they just handle things so much more with respect for the fans, the team, and the intelligence of the viewer on Open Gym. Raptors Delight. It's like they made a show for a 13-year-old toxic little piece of crap that sits in a basement and just writes horrible comments on social media every day, all day long, is what Raptors Delight is. Meanwhile, we've got a humanitarian, beautifully shot, beautifully scored, beautifully edited. Like the editors for Raptors Delight ain't got nothing on Open Gym. The people that edit Open Gym are real cinematographers that do things at the level of motion pictures. And Raptors Delight is clipping Rudy Gay from Horrible Podcasts and their bullshit. It's outclassed, completely outclassed, night and day. And thank you, Open Gym, for the palate cleanser that made me forget about that stupid bullshit that Sportsnet put out on Sunday called Raptors Delight, the Rebirth. Nah, Open Gym, the legacy. In some ways, they're telling the same story right around the same timeline, but you can see the totally different way of doing it and the respect and the just things that they do. That show's made for fans. That shows the real account of the Raptors history. That is a show that's been going for more than 10 years now, and it has it all documented. And this Raptors Delight bullshit that came out trying to write the narrative, fuck you guys. You have a piece of shit series that I call the Dark Side of the Raptors at this point. That's what that is. And Open Gym all day long, every day. It's so awesome to see Gravis Vasquez come on the show and basically talk about his time with the Raptors. You know, we're getting around to some alumni we ain't heard from in a long time. People like TJ Ford, Antonio Davis, AC Earl, people coming through, Tracy Murray, coming through to games and hanging out around the Raptors again. And, well, in the 30th anniversary, some of the old alumni are saying, yeah, I want to stand and come out and of the woodwork and say, yeah, I love the Raptors. I love my time in Toronto. I never wanted to be traded. And I always will feel like this for Toronto. Well, Gravis Vasquez, the red carpet is rolled out for you, my guy. Come on up to a game and sit at courtside and get the love and adulation from Raptors fans as an upstanding, loved Raptors alumni. I love it. I hadn't heard from Gravis Vasquez in forever. But that's what this whole episode was about. It was about trades and how difficult they are. And getting the perspective from people like DeLon Wright and Gravis Vasquez and Jonas Valanciunas about trades was powerful in this episode because you saw both sides. You heard Bobby and Masai talk about how difficult it is, how hard the DeMar trade was for Masai, how, you know, this is a tough one. You see the aftermath of Masai off the phone with Vasquez after he traded him to Milwaukee and for Norman Powell. And it's not easy. He said, that was a tough one, man. That was a tough one, man. You know, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, this is what fans need to see because they're so casual about wanting to trade players so easily. There's a human side to this, and you saw it in the latest Open Gym. That is good work. That's like the opposite of Dark Side of the Raptors. That is good work. That is getting the fans to see the inside workings of how we're a family as a Raptors organization. And in some ways, we have to balance that with being a business and making the best decisions for the team to win. It's not always easy. And sometimes things happen like that. Now, it's funny. DeLon Wright wanted to get traded. He was talking to Norman. He was saying, yeah, I kind of want to get traded. I want to get traded. Why did you want to get traded? We're going to win the championship that year. I guess you didn't believe in it. Well, you got what you wanted. And you went to Memphis. You know, listening to Jonas Valanciunas talk about how, you know, I spent 8 years of my life here in Toronto, and then it changed. It was just hard. It's just very difficult. In some ways, he's a man of short words. He doesn't say a whole lot. And in some ways, he's not a very emotional guy either. But you can feel the pain from Jonas about getting traded for Marc Gasol in the championship year and how that felt for him. In some ways, we've talked a lot about DeMar and what happened to him. But we do not look at Jonas in the same way as that he got traded right before we won the championship, and he played half the season, although he was hurt for a good chunk of it, for the Raptors in our championship year. I always disagreed with the idea that CJ Miles, DeLon Wright, and Jonas Valanciunas did not get championship rings. I think they should have. If other franchises are giving championship rings to guys who just played that season, I think Jonas Valanciunas should have a Raptors championship ring, me personally. But that's the thing. That's why Open Gym's so good. They're able to show all kinds of different things all at once, and they do it from the voices of the people. No snarky ass, dumbass narrator like Dark Side of the Raptors. None of this bullshit. You hear it straight from the horse's mouth, and they got such good interviews. In fact, it looked like some of the interviews that they got were at the same time as the ones for Raptors Delight. It's almost like the Sportsnet crew and the Bell crew came in there and kind of had time with Jonas at the same time when the Wizards were around. So, yeah, fantastic stuff. I cannot recommend it enough. I know Monique has watched it multiple times already. She could barely watch the Dark Side of the Raptors episode once. I could barely watch it once. In fact, I felt like turning it off halfway through it. I hated it so much. And meanwhile, Open Gym, I'll watch that episode from Monday. One of the best Open Gym episodes in a long time. Seriously, there have been many good ones too. They've been killing it at times in the last year. I'll watch that episode like 10, 12 times over and over again because it's so good. It is so good. And there you go. There's a difference right there. There's the difference right there. There's one channel, there's one show that is actually respecting the fans of the Raptors and trying to build a positive story about our history. And then the other one's just a fucking piece of shit called The Dark Side of the Raptors, aka Raptors Delight. Gross. You know, in some ways you can tell creative people made Open Gym and people that are not really into basketball made the other one. And it is what it is. I could even say that the people that made Raptors Delight are probably Celtics fans or some other team, the way they fucking act and shit. Yeah. Nako's saying not having Pirtle and Ingram is worse than not having KP. I feel like they could have played Scotty more. Love the intensity. Well, KP and Drew, you got to remember, and Horford, those are three very crucial players for them. And that's basically their size. So Drew Holiday, along with those guys, it kind of balances out. You could say maybe Porzingis and Horford for Pirtle, and then Drew Holiday for Brandon Ingram. So it's pretty even, Nako, pretty even with who was missing last night. Kareem's saying, I'm so excited about the team's trajectory, and I'm not even factoring in Brandon Ingram. Scary hours for the East next season. We may do the biggest jump in the standings next year. I think we will. And you're not even talking about the top 10 draft pick we're going to get either. That's the other part of it. Now, once again, Raptors fans, this may be the toughest game we have for the rest of the season was last night. The season schedule is going to get so freaking easy from here. And the way we're playing at a top level. We're not going to be trying to pull no punches. So get used to winning some more games on the way out. My magic number is 8 more. We win 8 more games out of the 24 games we got left. That's a third of our games. I'll be happy. If we win half of them, that's 12. And that means that we've won like 30 games for the season. And I'm okay with that too. So what do we could do? We can do it on cruise control. And hopefully we can snatch 1 out of 3 games and get to 26. But if we get 4 more than that, then that's 12 more wins. And that's half of our games. Winning every other game, that's very doable also. What if we win, instead of 12, we win 18 of our last games? Holy crap. That would mean we have 36 wins for the end of the year. So there's a lot of possibilities here, especially with the strength of schedule being so easy. And even if we have guys sitting out, we're playing at such a high level overall. Even with guys sitting out, we can beat teams even with like maybe one night RJ's out, one night Jakob's out still, you know, stuff like that. We can still make it up. Scotty is going to play for the rest of the season, though, guys. He really is on the cusp of losing postseason award stuff, and that has to do with his contract, and he is not trying to miss games. You notice Scotty's been getting hurt in games recently, and he's walking it off. He's not having any trouble. He's a little limpy here. He looks like he's like holding his arm here. You know, that stuff, it doesn't matter right now. And that some ways shows the difference between the old and the new NBA. You can play hurt. You can play like you've been messed up with your ankle already and go back out there. Some people just use it as an excuse to sit for the rest of the game. You know, you got hit in the arm, Grady. You're hurt. You're not going to play for the rest of the game. You know, that kind of stuff can happen. But if you're like Scott and you're close to that threshold of not getting 65 games played to be qualified for postseason awards, you're not messing around with it. So anybody who's expecting Scott to take sideline time at the end of the season is not going to happen. This dude's going to play out for the rest of the season because he can't miss any more games. And this means more money for him. Trust me. It's a big, big deal right there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep going. Carlos saying, hey, they have betting odds on who lands Embiid via trade market, and the Raptors are the front runners. That's ridiculous. Don't try and shovel your shit onto our property. Yeah, come on now. We don't want this. Nah, we don't want this. Philadelphia is just some sort of silly joke. It's like, yeah, we hate Embiid. Nobody wants him on this team, and I'm positive that this would never happen. They can go ahead and make odds like this, but this sounds like convoluted Vegas shit. It's not like, are they taking into account that Bobby and Masai have brains and they would never do this move? Never ever do this move. So I don't know where this is coming from, Kaloy. I know it's not you. But I would say this. I wouldn't take these betting odds. I think the people are crazy if they think that this would ever happen in any reality. Seriously, we don't want Joel up here. We don't. Cream saying, I know Joel is a world-class player, but I wouldn't entertain it. He's not a world-class player. He's a world-class talent. Once again, I'm going to correct somebody just like Leo did to Sam a week ago or so when we played Philly. Joel Embiid is not a world-class player. He's not a good player. He's a good talent. He could be very, very good, but he just doesn't do things correctly. So I stand with Leo Routens on his stand on this. Is like, yeah, you can't say that he's a good player because in some ways he hasn't shown up half the time. And half the time he hasn't won anything either. So I can't say this. I'm sorry. I wouldn't entertain it. I wouldn't entertain it for sure. Maybe if we gave up Orlando Robinson and maybe gave Daryl Morey a U-Haul bag of ketchup chips, they'd consider it. No, I don't even want him around. In some ways, the bonus of having such great team chemistry and good vibes around our team would be ruined by a grouch like him. And we don't want Joel on this team, man. Vibes are immaculate, and he would ruin all that. He would not contribute in a way that would make up for that because he'd probably be hurt and sitting on the bench in street clothes most of the time. Cream saying, hey, Lex, because we were kind of close in age, Bracket, my favorite TV show was The Wonder Years. The soundtrack was absolutely phenomenal. That was a good show. That was a very good show back in the day. Fred Savage and Jason Hervey. Yeah, that was a good show. What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ear and I'll sing you a song. I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, baby, now it's my little help with my friends. All I need is I'll do a little Joe Cocker. Yeah, that was a fantastic show. Really, really good. And much better for society than Malcolm in the Middle. I'll say that. That was more bringing humanity together and doing things correctly. That's right. There you go. Carlos, Stargate's wondering who is they in I think Vegas betting odds people. I don't know. MGM Grand, Bet Rivers. I don't know. These bullshit artists is probably who he means. Stargate, I don't know who they are, but I think that's a joke. Anybody who puts money on that, well, you deserve to have your money stolen from you, is what I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Nako's saying PJ Tucker for Embiid and the Sixers have to give us 3 first-round picks. Yeah, I mean, you're maybe getting the right deals here. Nako, maybe you need to go work with Bobby and be the first person, the lead caller with Daryl Morey's office and be just going, we don't want Embiid. We want first-round picks. And forget about Embiid. You can have PJ Tucker. Who is this? I'm Nako. All right, let's see. Steve Moore's laughing at you. Mugabe's saying the Raptors can be a top 5 team in the East, but I don't trust Darko. You should trust Darko. Why don't you trust Darko, Mugabe? Seriously, write it in. I'll get to your comment down the road. But why do you not trust Darko? What's not to trust about him? Seriously, this dude's amazing, man. He's doing such a good job on down low. Seriously, we have to give all the credit in the world to why the team is connected and why they play all out and play so hard to the coach. I mean, seriously, some people gauge a coach by their wins-loss. I'm gauging it by the effort and how connected and how good the team is working off each other. And A+++ in those categories. The wins will come, my friend. As our young players get older, they're going to come because all of them are young and they're all going to get better. Sky's going to get better. RJ's going to get better. Emmanuel's going to get better. Heck, Brandon Ingram's going to get better when he shows up. And Jamal Shed, Jacoby Walter, Grady Dick. Okay, whatever they get better to do. So Mugabe, you should trust Darko. Seriously, start learning to trust Darko. Don't be a Darko hater. Don't fall into some weird online places where people are like, yeah, we're so good, but I hate our coach. I wish he'd get fired. Fuck those people. Those people don't know what's good for our team. We need to give a lot of credit to Coach Rajakovic for what we've done the last 2 years, even if the wins aren't exactly right. A casual will gauge Darko on his win and loss record. A real one, a person that's actually gauging the things by what matters, will pay attention. They'll see this guy's A++ all around. So seriously, I'm pleading with you, Mugarby. I love you, man. Don't be a Darko hater and trust him. Seriously, he's going to do really good, man. Stargate saying, oh, Lord, now we actually entertaining Joel Embiid to the Raptors talk now. This fan base, I tell you, shaking my head. No. I don't know. This may be too much talk on this. In some ways, I don't give a shit about this. We have 2 games that we got to play today, and we should be talking about the Pacers, Oklahoma City Blue. Fuck Joel Embiid. Fuck these rumors. And anyways, whoever brought up Joel Embiid today, just don't bring him up. That's what I say right there. Because in some ways, it's stupid. It's a stupid thing. The whole thing is dumb. And their dumpster fire is their dumpster fire. We don't need to warm our hands near it. We don't need to be anywhere near it. That's right. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. There you go. Seymour Pape. Good to see the sheriff. Nako's saying 2020 vibes were better, in my opinion. Love the chemistry, though. No. You know why? The vibes were more experienced and older and matured. And that's why they had the best record as a team. But once again, I'm not going by record. I'm not going by wins. I'm going about how connected and how these guys vibe off each other. And it's a complete all of them together. It's like in 2020, there could have been a couple of guys that didn't totally jive with each other, and it didn't matter because they were just that good. So I don't know. I mean, we can differ on this opinion. In some ways, the thing with that season was all messed up because, first of all, Kawhi didn't come back, and a lot of people were like dissing us and not giving us the proper respect because he didn't come back. And it was really wrong. And then second, that's the year there was a pandemic and there was all kinds of crazy shit that got turned upside down and the bubble was a mess. And I don't know. In some ways, I mean, yeah, the vibes were good and these guys are all good and connected, but it's different. You got to understand, Nako, it's different, especially because it's young guys. In some ways, the young guys could be immature and not really together. And Darko's got them all bought in and really connected. Such good ways right now. So we can agree to disagree. The chemistry is way better right now, even than that. But that team was better because they were a higher level, because they were more advanced and vet, and they were champions. They were defending champions. So this is some differences here. Yeah. Carlos saying the source is Bovada Official. Bovada Official. Yeah, Bovada Official. Okay, yeah, that sounds like somebody you should just not pay attention to ever again. Mugarby saying, Lex, you think the GM of the Mavs can make that trade without the owner? I don't think so. I think it was the owner's call, not Nico. Well, you're exactly right. The owner made that call. And like I said, the owner is a genocidal bitch, and she's not a good person. And, Nico, once again, he has ties to Rob Pelinka. They both worked together when they worked for Kobe Bryant, and that's a Laker. So I'm just saying there's a lot of history for Nico Harrison that's Lakers oriented. So it's fishy as fuck when you hand a generational young talent like Luka Doncic to the Lakers. And you're the GM of the Mavericks, but you have a prior relationship with the GM of the Lakers and a prior relationship working for Kobe Bryant. I'm sorry, that's fishy, Mugarby. That's fishy. And it's especially fishy since Nico Harrison didn't go talk to any other teams in the league. Adam Silver's lying when he said he had no idea about this trade. He's lying. He wouldn't let something huge like this happen without having some sort of inkling of knowing it. Seriously. So, yeah, the owners definitely were like, yeah, we can do this. And Nico was more than happy to do it. I'm telling you. Name is saying Tatum is absolutely fantastic player always. I don't agree with this. I'm only giving him shine for last night. I've seen him play really ineffective, casual kind of basketball at times too. And honestly, I think Jaylen Brown's the more important player. But last night, Jason played well, and I wanted to give him his flowers. I hate him, and I think he's not that good most of the time. I think that this is the best game he's had against the Raptors in like 5 years, honestly. And I'll even include the bubble stuff because, honestly, in some ways, the stuff he did in the bubble wasn't that good. They were carried by other teams, other players like Brown in that bubble series. He often has like these 3 for 14 games against us. You know, in size, it was because before the long arm monster knew how to tie him up really good and stifle him, and he couldn't score against guys like Siakam, Anunoby, and Precious. You know, so it's I'm not gonna give him these flowers, and I like Fiercey. Not that I was mad about it, but I thought he deserved the glazing last night. But Fiercey was getting really mad in our chat talking about Jack Armstrong just kissing the Celtics ass all through the broadcast. But in some ways, they deserve it. They're the champs. In some ways, they deserve it. Somebody's saying Raptors need to stay away from Joel. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't think this is possible. I seriously don't think this is possible. Bobby's not stupid. Come on. I think people think that Bobby are stupid. And I don't understand why. Bobby's like a whiz. Bobby's a salary cap genius. And Raptors fans are worried because we got Brandon Ingram, and now they're worried about RJ leaving or having to leave or something like that. Don't, because Bobby fit it exactly right underneath the cap, and we don't need to lose any of our guys that we got right now. We can keep them, and the cap's going to grow with them and their salaries that have come up. At some point, we may need to make a tough decision like 3 years down the road, but everything's good for the next couple of years. And Raptors fans don't need to be worried about Ingram coming and displacing one of our other stars that are already here. I've been trying to tell people this on social media places, so I'll say it on the channel. Bobby is a whiz at the salary cap, and he made it all fit. Brandon Ingram fits with everybody. It's Scotty and Emmanuel's extensions. Yeah, so there you go. And RJ, we trust. I love it. Yeah, RJ is awesome. We love RJ. RJ is such a good scorer, and he's just like that. He's a bucket. He's a bucket. Randolph Phillips is here. Lex, and our beloved, most informative Raptor Freaks, blessings. When the odds are against you, know that success is still possible and press forward with all your strength to your destiny. That's right. And don't let them downtrodden you. Don't let the bastards get you down, because honestly, that's part of their weaponization, is to shock and awe with all kinds of crazy, horrible things they're doing in the United States government right now, so people get apathetic and feel like they have nothing they can do about it. That's bullshit. And the truth is, people are taking the streets and they are resisting more than ever. There's thousands and thousands of people protesting the United States government right now, not just in United States, but around the world. And they're not showing it because the media has been bought off. It was signified by the Washington Post refusing to endorse Kamala Harris before the election. And basically Jeff Bezos, owning Washington Post, bought the media. The media is bought. And you cannot go by anything from the media at this point. Grassroots and social media will help the best, because they will show the real protests, and the millions of people across the country that are fighting against Trump and Elon right now is real. And you can see the pictures. If you go and find it, it will find it. But mainstream media is not going to put it on the news. They're not going to put it on CNN. They're not going to put it on Fox News. And it's a ploy to make it seem like nobody's doing this. But they are. There are out there, and there are people fighting against this corrupt, evil-ass government and what they're trying to do right now, this oligarchy. So don't believe the hype. Understand there are people out there. They're not going to cover it. The revolution is not being televised because they don't want you to see it and join it. So understand that it is out there, and it is possible for us to have success against them. Don't get downtrodden. The power of the people will happen when we rise up and we make their game go on the floor, because we stood up and they can't be on our backs anymore. So we need to do this. Yeah. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Randolph Phillips. Blessings to Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. Thank you, Randolph. Stargate saying both RJ and IQ hand costly turnovers near the end of the game. RJ with the travel after trailing the play, and IQ stepping out of bounds, deciding dribbling along the baseline. Yeah, those were both costly turnovers. But in some ways, once again, we're playing against the champs. We're playing against a team that's honed their craft for a couple of years with that unit, and they've been to the finals a few times. They won the finals last year. And we're a team that has one of the youngest average ages in the league, and we are coming up on the escalator. We're young, and in some ways closing out a game and having these kind of issues. Sure, those were bad turnovers, right? But, once again, what's the purpose of what we're doing right now? We're learning, and we're in crunch time. We're playing high-level talent, and we're competing with them. We're not getting blown out, but we're not beating them because we just don't handle things correctly exactly at the end. Sure, you can finger point. Y'all want to finger point Pat Delaney? You want to finger point RJ and Emmanuel? I don't care. They played overall very, very well. And I'm not upset about this game last night. There's no reason to finger point. This kind of shit's going to happen, and they're going to clean it up. They're going to clean it up. Paul B's here. Yeah, Lex, what are some of the best music videos you've seen recently? I stopped doing that project, Paul, and thanks for being here. And Paul's doing some major work for me behind the scenes right now with the Kensington Variety VIP Club. I'm going to try and do that work I told you I'd do in the next couple of days. Today's too crazy because there's 2 Raptors games, and I'm going to be watching basketball all afternoon and then tonight. But I'm hoping tomorrow I'll be able to jump on fixing those clips for the KV VIP show. I haven't watched any videos that are new recently. I really haven't. And it's partly because I don't do that video project anymore. I stopped doing it last year, and I didn't restart it this year. It's a lot of work, and it wasn't really paying what I wanted it to at that point, so I gave it up. So it's too much of my time. So I'm not really up on music anymore. I would say this: I made a really, really cool '80s playlist recently. I went and made like 800 fantastic '80s videos of like the best '80s music. So, Paul, if you want, I'll share you my '80s videos playlist if you want. I also have a really crazy playlist of all the videos I ever reviewed in the last 5 years. It has like 6,000 videos on it. I could share that playlist with you also, Paul. If you would like to see that, you could find a whole lot of good new music. Of course, it's music from 2 years ago as the most brand new. Thanks for the question, Paul. And thank you so much for the work you've been doing to help me with the Kensington Variety VIP Club project. And I'm going to go ahead and give Paul his first dunk of the year for showing up. 3 points for you, a dunk for you, Paul. 3-point dunks is what we do here. Milbester's here. Knicks Freak is in the house. Hey, Lex, how's everything with the Raptors and scheduled games recently? My Knicks lost to the Cavs and Celtics. Been busy watching the WBC qualifiers. Taiwan, Nicaragua requalified Pool B Sunday. Well, we had qualifiers for AmeriCup, and the Team Canada got that for basketball. And that's the sport we like to talk about, Milbester. So congratulations to Team Canada qualifying for AmeriCup and FIBA World Cup in the next couple of years. The Raptors are doing great. They're playing at a very high level. They're not winning all the games, but they're playing very good teams, and they beat the Suns on Sunday. I have a good feeling that maybe we can have a good run against the Pacers tonight on this back-to-back. I think it's kind of sucks that the Raptors have to go on a week-long road trip on the second night of a back-to-back, play a game here in Toronto, and immediately get on a plane and have been packed for a whole week because they're going to be gone till like next Thursday. They won't be back in Toronto till like Thursday or Friday. So you're getting a good break, going on a road trip to Indiana, Chicago, and then Orlando in 2 games in a row over the weekend against the Magic. This is an important road trip in some ways because we need to show some improvement from the first year of Darko when we went. I guess this was in Scott. Actually, this was the last year, Nick, when we went to Orlando and we lost 2 games in a row to Orlando Magic. That's kind of where everything unraveled with Nick, with his career with the Raptors starting then. And it was like November of the last year that Nick was coaching us. So there's a couple of things that the Raptors need to do going to Orlando with this trip or this weekend is stay out of trouble and work hard and kind of just keep focused on the task at hand. And that's playing good basketball because, you know, there's a lot of distractions, especially when you go to Florida in March and you're kind of going and there's a lot of distractions. There's nice weather. And you're going to have a couple of days off where you're just hanging around in Orlando. So we're going to need the Raptors to stay focused. Maybe Scotty's getting family time at JMO with some Florida family down around there. But, yeah, I want to see how they do in this. It'll be a very interesting contrast to Nick Nurse's two games in Orlando in his last season and how much of a failure they were. Remember, Ken Birch was in those games for us at that time. It's a long time ago. Hopefully Darko will show his difference as a coach from Nick Nurse in winning both the games against Orlando down there. I'll be happy we just win one of them. I want to split. I don't want to lose both games in Orlando. I want to win at least one of them. That's how I'm looking at it right now. Let's see. Nako's saying Shed's been the best rookie, in my opinion. He's had the most linear progression out of all of our rookies. You know, it's not that it's a contest. Once again, everyone wants to make everything such a little contest in every kind of way. They're all different, and they're all kind of different on their own different tracks. I mean, if you really want me to say something about this, I mean, I guess I could get along with this. You know, there was a whole period where Shed was doing some things very wrong. I think that the thing that I would say is that Shed is the fast learner and adjuster, and you see adjustments from game to game on things that he feels like he needs to work on. He's very cerebral. He's very smart. And in some ways, he's learning the game advanced quickly. And that may be part of the reason why you feel like this is because in some ways, well, one of the things that he improved on from the beginning of the year immensely was defense. Like he's understanding positioning and how to guard guys better and better every single game he plays. And in the beginning of the year, he may have been pretty poor at defense. The other thing is very signifying that you're probably looking at is the three-point shooting. That Jamal did not shoot well at 3 at the beginning of the year, but he made a dedication to try and get better at it. He has shot better at 3 too. I mean, I won't disagree with what you're saying, but I will say it's not a contest. And you know what? It's probably pretty close between him and Jacoby Walter, if you really talk about it and think about it. In some ways, Jacoby has had more roadblocks in front of him than Shed because of injury. And he's shown a real amazing growth too. Jonathan's kind of been the same the whole year. In some ways, he's kind of grown in different ways. He's growing by experience. Jameson's just not getting enough time. And Shamshe's on a whole other level of development as a project coming down the road. So, I mean, I guess you could say this. It's fair. But once again, I don't like comparing our players against each other and making it competitive like that. We're collective, all for one for all, musketeer style. All right. That's how we look at it. Fiercey's here. Good to see MJ. All right. Let's see if she's going to talk about how the glazing was going on last night. She's saying, good morning, fam, and happy game day. On to the next matchup, Pascal, tonight. I think Boucher should have had more minutes. Yeah, maybe. You know, he did get to play some at the crunch time in the fourth quarter, and that was helpful. But he did get taken out at the end of the game. Now, it's interesting how they had Shed and IQ out there for a little while as double point guard kind of lineup. It kind of harkened back to Lowry and Van Vliet kind of stuff. And it was fine because they were playing Derek White and Peyton Pritchard at that time. But it was the starters, and instead of Mobo being out there, Shed was out there. And I liked it, honestly. I liked that look for a little while. It was very dogged and very experienced, and maybe one of the best lineups we had out there last night. But the Celtics were smart, and they utilized that against us, and they started putting Shed in the post and getting back down by certain players, and that was hurting us. So Darko had to take Shed back out and put Mobo back in for the end of the game after all, because he did need to have that size. But it was an interesting little period of time in the game when we were running quickly and Shed in the fourth quarter and under 5 minutes to go. Because in some ways, if they had had more success scoring, like if Quickly had been hitting his shot, and Shed too, Shed was kind of it would have been helpful in that situation. But instead, it was a detriment on defense, and they went down low and they started scoring some points on us, kind of like Scotty was doing to them earlier in the game. Let's see. Yeah, Shed's energy was fire. He was really good. He's an honorable mention for me in the game last night. Milbester, you're talking about baseball. I'm skipping it. Trevor's giving me the classic card cue. I'm going to do the Instagram stories real quick. First, we've got Toronto Tempo celebrating Tamara Tatham. She is a coach for the Olympian or something like that. I don't know. And they're talking about they were just putting on blast different people for Black Heritage Month, and just to put women on blast also for basketball and coaching. So it's good stuff. I'm a little confused, though. I thought that this was the lady you hired as the coach for the team, but that's not what this is. You're just highlighting great female coaches right now, is what I'm getting. Toronto Tempo right now. There's a Toronto Tempo hat. Really cool. Lots of hats and things going on. People are just getting their swag on for the Tempo. And Jack Armstrong sounds excited about Tempo coming on the broadcast last night. Of course, they talked a little bit about Diana Taurasi is retiring from the WNBA finally, and they were giving her just desserts and flowers in the broadcast last night. Yeah. Oh, happy birthday to Fred VanVleet a day late. We did say that yesterday on the broadcast. It didn't make it. Zion Williamson really liking playing with Kelly Olynyk. He's publicly saying that I love playing with Kelly. Kelly is one of the best passers I've ever met, and he's really finding me. Who would have known that Kelly Olynyk, Zion Williamson hookup would be such an OP kind of a combination? But it is in some ways. And Kelly's having a fun time in New Orleans, it looks like. He's playing really well for them so far. There's Jamal Shed with a picture of Chris Boucher embracing Kevin Durant after the game, and Jamal's kind of in the corner. You know, that was interesting. Jamal was talking to Kevin during the game on Sunday, and it was like he was talking trash, but they were smiling and going back and forth. And I think it was one of those pinch me moments for Jamal Shed. Like I said, Kevin Durant's probably important to him because of his days on Texas Longhorns, and Jamal being a Texas kid growing up, he knew Kevin Durant was. And so in some ways it's pinched me. I'm playing in the league and I'm talking trash with Jamal. Jamal's talking trash with Kevin in the middle of the game. So you got to love that in some ways. Also, Jamal Shed showing some of the action where he stripped the ball away from Derek White. That's probably somebody he looks up to and he learns from, is the way Derek White plays. And he's going to steal some of his tricks. And he's just like on that trajectory Nako's saying, Jamal Shed getting better and better every game. He probably gleaned some more tricks from Derek White last night. Jonathan Mobo with his dunk that he got from the lane. That was that perfect silver platter pass by RJ Barrett that was talking about. You put the rhythm of the pass and the bounce, and you lead the player in the fast break just ahead of him. He can't help but make it. It's like that's how you got to play as a point guard. Silver platter, put it right in front of him in the perfect way for him to catch it and put it in the hoop. And that's something that I see. A lot of the Raptors are getting better at making very good passes. They're on the money that the guy can't even mess up making the shot. And that's what a good point guard does. There's a picture of Wubbs with Chris Boucher on his Instagram. Jacoby Walter reposting Chris Boucher getting shown as a leader on this team, and the young rookies are showing pictures of them with Chris. So there's a lot of respect and love for our vet, Chris Boucher, from Jacoby and Jamal. Grady Dick was coming into the game yesterday, and his fit was so awesome. He had an OVO jacket on, a black and gray one, and it was a Rising Stars special jacket for him, commemorating his Rising Stars appearance at the All-Star Weekend recently. He's wearing black glasses. Really, really, really cool jacket, and really, really cool to see Grady getting that kind of special OVO, one-of-a-kind jacket for his appearance at Rising Stars. Grady with some action shots, and also he's got a picture of him with Cassie Athena photo, and he's got some sort of, what is that? What is he wearing? What is he holding? Is that some sort of food or something? I can't even tell what that is. It looks like a Cheetos bag all ripped up or something. I don't know what's going on there. That's weird, man. The Raptor came out with muscles in the championship belt because Chelsea Green was in the house last night at the Raptors game. WWE champion wrestler was at courtside and getting a hug from him. Yeah, pretty cool stuff to see the wrestler at the game last night. Jared Roden is on a plane flying out of Toronto to go to Oklahoma City, and he sees an amazing sunset in Toronto. And he says, sunsets be wild out here. Jared Roden appreciating a beautiful sunset in Ontario yesterday. Siakam, here's a clip of him saying he's tired after the All-Star break on here. He's like, yeah, I'm tired, man. The break don't really feel like a break, honest. Just being all over the place. You could go over west and come back, and see, I'm sluggish. I'm not on my own. So he's saying he's already making excuses for right now. He just posted this 15 hours ago. So Siakam's tired, y'all. He's already saying it before we even play him. We'll have to see what he does. Maybe he's a rope-a-dope. Maybe he is not tired. He's gonna come out and kill us. I don't know. Either way, Siakam, you've lost to us twice already. You want to make it a hat trick? Can we sweep the Pacers today? Is Siakam's tired? I don't know. There's Norman Powell's understand the grind gear. Love seeing Norman on some of the stuff with the Raptors open gym and different things like that. Norman is a valued Raptors alumni, always will be. Matt Devlin's got the fisherman's friend on blast always, and he's dancing with Kayla and Jack. Love it, love it, love it. Such good stuff. I love that one moment in the broadcast last night. Oh, boy. And this was maybe a little nod to me. Jack and Matt were talking about, they said world events. And they're like, we're not going to talk about this world events right now. And we know that what they're talking about is the U.S. government going to shit right now. And they were like, we don't do this. Strictly basketball talk. And I was like, in some ways, I was like, yeah, they're not the Raptors freak. They know I'm going to go there and say all this stuff I'm going to say. They can't. They're on TV. They're corporate. And in some ways, they can't do the stuff that I do on this channel. But they're nodding like they might wanted it to, but they just don't. It's not in their repertoire. And in some ways, they know it's not their place to make political statements on the broadcast. And, well, they alluded to it last night for a second as far as like, yeah, we would say something about what's going on in the world, but we're not going to. And Jack says, strictly basketball here, folks. Yeah, I'm not that way. I got to. Some people got to speak out, and I'm going to, and I will. If that's what I do and my platform is speak about things, well, I will speak about the things that are going on, even if it's dangerous. I will. Let's see. SGA has got a guy wearing his jersey on blast on his Instagram. There's Jonas getting a walk with Dematis to the plane. You know, in some ways, Jonas, man, I love that you've circled around. And like, man, you're such a Raptors alumni. We love you so much. I know you love Toronto so much. But I love the fact that you're in Sacramento now, away from Washington, and you're with Dematis and DeMar. That's just such a beautiful synergy and a family, because I know you and DeRozan are close. And I love hearing your statements about how they were really good leaders on our team, DeMar and Kyle. And, yeah, being with the kid, Sabonis, the Lithuanian, your brother, that's so awesome. So, yeah, I love the Kings reunion that happened because of the trades this year with DeMar and Jonas being on the same team again. So good. There's Shamshay with a buddy of his with a hoodie on the street, and his buddy smiling real big. Yeah, I think that's about it. There's a 905 camp on March 10th to the 14th, 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And I believe it's for children. Yeah, it's for ages 7 to 15, co-ed, $355. It's March break camp. So if you want to take your kids somewhere because you got to work and you want them to be somewhere awesome, you could send them to the 905 camp, Newton Grove School in Mississauga on 6850 Gorway Drive. Yeah, they're going to have a basketball camp, kids, at 905. And if you need somewhere to take them, you can do that. And Jameson Battle's got the Minnesota basketball team on blast on his Instagram. There's the Instagram stories. Took a little while there. Fiercely saying, Open Gym episodes always make me teary. Magnificent production. So good. So good. You know what? It's like, it's not even in the same class. You know, Raptors Delight is not anywhere near the same class as Open Gym. Open Gym is the bona fide real deal Holyfield. Amazing cinematography, amazing editing, amazing storytelling, just the best in the field. And man, thank you, Open Gym. Thank you, Open Gym. I love you so much. And thank you for treating our team with respect and treating it the way that Raptors fans would like you to treat it. And I think that Sportsnet just doesn't get the memo with their Raptors, dark side of the Raptors bullshit that they've been doing over there. Fuck you, Michael Grange. Fuck you, Richard Petty, is what I'll say over and over again. That's right. And I got teary-eyed, too, watching that Open Gym episode the first time. It is really deep, man. That's the thing. Like, there's no hard feelings. You can tell Dwayne Casey had no problem with Masai, and Masai loves Dwayne Casey. And firing him was not easy. Trading DeMar was not easy. Trading Graves Vasquez and DeLon Wright and Jonas Valanciunas was not easy. But trading Rudy Gay was easy. I'll say that. Trading Rudy Gay was probably easy. Anyway, Nako's saying Mavs for keeps, leaking little things they didn't like about Luka. I don't think I read any complaints about the basketball that was played. Okay, I'm not even sure what that statement you're trying to say. I don't know. Either way, the Mavericks organization is a joke. And I feel for the fans. I really do. I feel for their fans. I really, really do. Seymour's saying go vote. That's right. Go vote, guys. It's now more than ever. Honestly, we need to vote, because if we don't vote, we may lose that right to vote very soon. The states are really on their way towards that right now. This guy declaring himself a king and saying, you know, there's already a party movement in his party to declare him eligible to run the next term. So seriously, they're trying to be an oligarchy monarchy in the United States very soon. In some ways, they're patterning what they want to do, like Putin in Russia. And we can't have that. We can't have the U.S. trying to run like that. And then by extension, our own country here, all of a sudden, implementing a similar kind of thing, our Canadian version, which is Pierre Poilievre. You cannot vote for him. I'm telling you guys, he's a really, really bad for Canada's future. And so is Doug Ford. So if you are eligible to vote today in Ontario, go vote. If you're other provinces that are voting, I don't know about, go vote too. Seriously, I think it's just here we're voting in Ontario. Just here. Trevor's saying Diana Taurasi retires. Yep, we covered that a little bit. I had her on my fantasy team last year, and she's an all-time great. She really is. It's going to be a different era for the Phoenix Mercury going forward without Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi around, because Brittany's on Atlanta now. So most saying Open Gym gets a golden ticket hands down. Yeah, by far. I mean, it's night and day. It's night and day. And in some ways, I'm speculating that Open Gym knew that Sportsnet was going to do a hatchet job on the Raptors, maybe a little hatchet job on Masai and Bobby and the way they run things. In some ways, they're pointing out all the negatives and all the ugly stuff about our history and not really highlighting the accomplishments and the great things. As I said in my red face rant on Monday, if they did the equivalent of Raptors Delight for the Leafs, if they did a show called Leafs Delight in the last 30 years, they would portray it as they won 3 Stanley Cups. They're the best team ever. They'd show all the positive things that happened to them, and they'd leave out all the ugly, stupid-ass shit that their front office did and all their failures. I'm serious. I could see this. I mean, they already make broadcasting stuff like this for the hockey team on Sportsnet that is just pure glazing and just pure overlooking the fact that this team has not won a Stanley Cup since the 60s. And seriously, they're going to treat a team that won a championship in the last 6 years like this, the Raptors. I'm telling you, if they did Leafs Delight, it would be all positive, rosy and glowing, because that's the way they are. White supremacists who are trying to promote hockey over basketball, and they made a piece of crap called Raptors Delight to, in some ways, try and make people not really be as into the Raptors or be cool to be in the Raptors. The Raptors are very cool to be into. Masai Ujiri has made it like that. And, well, they want to hurt that legacy of the culture by saying we're a joke, by making a stupid-ass show called Raptors Delight. And I'll harp on this every time. Dude, there's a couple of cardinals out my yard. All these animals have been gone for 2 months, and they're showing up all of a sudden. The squirrels, the chickadees, the cardinals, and the little red squirrel, too. So awesome to see the animals back because of the thaw the thawing of the snow. It's very, very cool. Yeah, Mo, I'm with you 100%. Open gym forever. Dark side of the Raptors, fuck you. You piece of shit, sorry ass. I can't wait in some ways. Well, I can wait to see how you sewer our championship and actually make it look bad. The one when we won the championship in 2019 with the treatment of it. I'm sure you're going to do horrible things with that. I'm sure you are. Let's see. Stargate saying, Lex, these kids today think NBA trades in real life is like trading in 2K. That's why it's so easy for them to say trade this for that and trade that for this. It's a video game to them. Yeah. And I think it's indicative by like William Liu. William Liu did an interview with Chris Boucher this week, which was nice. A post-trade deadline interview. But, William Liu, you're still on the download shading Chris, and you don't even realize it. You don't have the wherewithal to understand this. And you said to him, yo, and you're still around or something like that. Very casually. It wasn't exactly how he said it, but it was very insensitive. Very, very insensitive. Once again, these guys have lives. They have feelings. They don't necessarily want to move. They don't necessarily want to get traded when they do. And the fact that fans and are so giddy and gleeful and talk about it so much is insensitive. It's insensitive. These are human beings, and y'all should take more respect towards it like Masai does, who's the guy who's actually making the trades. Y'all don't make the trades, and he's more humanitarian about the trades than y'all are with all your speculating and talking about we should get rid of this person and get that person. No, these people aren't trash. You don't take them out to the street once a week. No, you don't. These are human beings, and a lot of times they love playing for the Raptors, and they don't want to go anywhere else. Seriously, I could see Brandon Ingram loves being on the Raptors already. In some ways, he feels like he just went over to sleep over at the rich kid's house. Seriously. Going from New Orleans that just is like what it is as an organization. In some ways, it's just not the same kind of organization as us. He's coming in, and now he's seeing just how fancy and how good the Raptors as a team have. Oh, he's loving it. There's a certain level to it. There's a certain repertoire of class and a certain level of excellence and that's what this organization, why it's so badass. It's a championship kind of level of excellence in all kinds of areas. Even if we're not winning, we operate that way. And in some ways you can come from the Pelicans to the Raptors and see the very stark difference. And in some ways is evidence, you see Brandon's coming in the game. He's dressing differently. There's a different kind of feel to him in certain ways. And in some ways he's gone to graduate school coming into Toronto and basketball, and he's ready to hit the books and get to the next level. And I love it. I love it right there. Yeah, they're insensitive because they don't understand the human repercussions of decisions. In some ways, corporations don't understand those. Well, casual fans don't either. It's exactly right. Trevor's saying, what do you think about NBA XL with Sam Mitchell interview? I didn't watch it. I haven't watched that interview yet. I've been very busy, and I've been not catching everything that comes out. So I have not watched that interview with Sam Mitchell yet. So I can't opine on it. I'm sorry. I did like the part where Sam said in Raptors Delight that he was the one who encouraged Chris Bosh to re-sign with us when he was a free agent. There was some real inept kind of GM stuff going on that they let him get that point. And Sam Mitchell talking him into coming back and playing for us. Kudos to you, Sam Mitchell. In some ways, you're a weird figure in the Raptors history. In some ways, you have your ups and downs with certain things. In some ways, I do appreciate you and your part in it. I really do. And I'm more warmed up to you being on our broadcast now at this point, because in some ways, you're being more respectful towards the Raptors finally. In some ways, you are kind of taking a little bit more of understanding. It's like, who's your audience, Sam Mitchell? Who's your audience, Raptors Delight? Raptors fans. So play to your audience, maybe, guys, instead of playing to assholes and people that hate us. Because in some ways, that was the whole reason I wanted you off the TSN broadcast a couple years ago, Sam. This is because you were a straight-up hater and a decrier and really bad person to talk about the Raptors at the time. But you warmed up, and you're more positive towards them, and you're more encouraging at this point. And that's why I've laid off of coming for you and saying we should get you off our broadcast. Because I did. 2 years ago, I was all about fire Sam Mitchell right away from TSN. And in some ways, they may have listened to us a little bit because we didn't see him as much. But you come back around. Your sassiness and your real talk is something I really do like. But I didn't like how you were suing us, especially on NBA TV behind our backs, but also to our faces on TSN at times too. So he's a weird one. Sam Mitchell is somebody I have a lot of respect for, and his importance in our Raptors history is real. Yeah, Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. I can't join today. Meetings all day. We'll listen later on today. I appreciate you, Cool Cat, and all the best to you. I hope you have a fantastic day, Coach. And I'm sorry about yesterday being a 1 second stream. That was so weird. That was so weird, man. Most saying W stream, W vibes. Despite the outcome, we made it a game. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Free crew strong forever. Just helping Lex limit comments. Yes, thank you, Mo. Yeah, it was. I'm not disappointed in the game last night. In some ways, there was good development and learning in that game last night, if not a win. And, there's no slouch in playing a very tough, high level game against a defending champion who is absolutely playing at a very high level. They were not playing bad last night. I can honestly say a couple of times that we played the Celtics this year, they were not their best and they didn't play well. Well, they played well last night and we hung with them. And that in some ways, people don't like moral victories, but in some ways, that's a sign of progress. I'll say that. Nameless is saying, of course, Darko is a premier coach in the league. Why wouldn't he be? Everything else in the organization is first class. That would be like wearing a fine Italian suit with flip-flops. On tour, pid. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Of course. I mean, we took so long to hire the coach. We better get it right. Seriously, we took like 2 or 3 months to hire our coach after we fired Nick. And we were like waiting, and we really went through a lot of different people. And they are not trying to make decisions like this to make mistakes. In some ways, this decision is just as important as a top draft pick in the top 5. It's just as important. The coach is very, very important. That's right. Fiercely saying, I actually think Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum. I agree. But last night, in some ways, Tatum was better than Brown. I will say that. Carlos saying, fuck the trade RJ group in the fan base. Yeah, I don't know who these people are. In some ways, they're not probably from Toronto. They're not probably Canadian, because most of the people from Canada and Toronto understand how good he is. Once again, people see something happening really well. Some of them could be former RJ fans from Knicks Nation that hate that he's doing so well with us and he's doing better than he did with them. There could be also people that are anti-Canadian that just hate the idea of a successful, very strong Canadian player playing for the Canadian team and doing what they do. I mean, the blackout on RJ is evident on both sides of the border. The people down there don't consider him one of our top 3. They're more likely to say Brandon, Scotty, and Emmanuel are our top 3. And then even up here, the Canadian media is not covering RJ because of the alt-right hockey bullshit that we talked about with Stargate. I completely agree with this. In some ways, RJ is an easy person to promote and put on advertising and really make like the face of the Raptors. Why don't they do it? They make money because they understand that having a hometown hero, a guy who plays for Toronto from Toronto, and putting him on blast is just a little too much happiness and culture and good things to attract fans to the Raptors more and more. And if hockey's trying to hold down the Raptors, they don't want to make them attractive. And RJ Barrett makes them more attractive. So that's part of it right there. It's not fair to RJ, but you know what? He doesn't care. He's not whining about this. He's not whining about not getting fouls. He's not whining about getting his just desserts in the media. He's just going to work with his lunch pail and he's doing what he does. And he knows if he does that enough, they're going to have to recognize him at some point. So, yeah, shame on the Canadian media just as much as the American media for not covering RJ Barrett correctly is what I'll say right there. Yeah. Yeah, Stargate saying Jason Tatum is the most overrated player in the game today, overhyped and overpushed by the basketball media. Ingram is better than him, and we will see that once he's healthy and playing. I love this. I love this right here. I'm going to go ahead and give Stargate a dunk because, you know what, in some ways, maybe a lot of people won't agree with him, but I will. I think that he may be right, that Jason Tatum is not as good as Brandon Ingram at his best. And we may see this very soon in the next couple of months, in the next year. 24 points for Stargate. He's got his next dunk. I am totally with that. Terminator X. Okay, Public Enemy. All right, now. Name is saying, let me ask any Darko haters this. Was Nick Nurse a premier coach when he was appointed? So why would this trend be any different now? Don't worry. I'll help you think it through. Well, on the download, Nick Nurse was the coach in waiting. You know, he was kind of the coach that Masai wanted all along instead of Casey. And in some ways, Casey was holding his spot for him. On the download, they never told us this. We thought that Jerry Stackhouse had the best shot. But Masai came in with Nick. And he kind of like talked to him and he understood like Nick Nurse is really an innovator. He's the future of coaching. And he's going to be our next head coach. He knew that for a few years before he did it. I know he did. And in some ways, we've got that on our team already, too, just in case. Like, if there's a problem, John is going to be our next head coach, guys. He's the one in waiting just in case. But that's only if things with Darko go really south and he has to leave for whatever reason. So let's not get it twisted. Nick was the anointed choice, the one that Masai wanted originally. And he gave Casey such a long runway to continue to coach, even though he didn't hire him, because Casey was still very successful and he was doing a really, really good job. But yeah, if he could have easily fired Dwayne Casey within 2 years of taking the job of being in charge of the Raptors and put Nick in that spot, like even before he did. But he didn't. He let Casey have that runway. He brought that Casey there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. It's Carlos saying, so glad that the front office scoured the earth to hire Darko. They interviewed everyone before considering anyone. Yeah, and well, there were a lot of signs pointing to him. Like I said, Darko's been a superstar coach for like 15 years. Like people already knew about Darko in like 2010. I had heard his name back then, but I'd forgotten about it as like one of the young stars in basketball coaching, in theory and philosophy and stuff like that. And around then, he was coaching G League teams and kind of bouncing around from different people like the Spurs, the Suns, the Thunder, to the Grizzlies. And he was always kind of an upcoming star, like Jordy. These guys are all there's crops of guys that are coming up on the assistant coaches ranks that are all everybody's kind of keeping an eye on. And Darko had been that guy for about 10 years, honestly. So he came on the right path at the right time on the escalator to get a head coaching job. It's not a frivolous hire. This is something that had been considered for a coach's jobs many, many years before, and he finally got his number called by the Raptors. And let's not get it twisted. That's something that means so much to Darko. As much as Masai said in the Legacy episode on Open Gym, when he was hired back to the Raptors to be replacing Brian Colangelo by Tim Lewicki, he said, I'm home. I'm back home. Well, Darko feels the same way about Toronto, guys. And in some ways, he's going to be more loyal to the Raptors than Nick Nurse was because we're the first team that took a chance on him to give him a head coaching job. And the first one's always the sweetest. It really is. So that's how I feel about it right there. Randolph saying, Lex, what evil are we witnessing in the USA? Get rid of birthright citizens and replace them with $50 million citizens. Sick and sad. Yeah, this was some dumb thing that Trump said is something about changing the green card system to having a gold card, and that if really, really rich people wanted to become Americans, they could pay $5 million to the American government and get a gold card and become a special class of American citizen above a normal green card. This is the way oligarchs work, man. It's all about the rich getting richer and crushing and crumbling and making the poor suffer. Billionaires make people suffer. I don't think people understand this. The hoarding of wealth means that there's less money for people to eat and people that have houses. And when all the wealth shifts to the very top, there's going to be way more thousands of people that are just struggling to survive. And that's the bad thing about this whole thing. And having the foxes in the hen house running things right now to make it even worse. Well, like I said, they cut Medicaid last night, and that all they're going to do is give a whole bunch of tax breaks to people that don't need them, people that aren't even paying any taxes anyway, that they're going to like enrich the rich even more. And there's going to be people that die because they're not going to have healthcare coverage as of this. It happened last night. It's really bad, man. Really, really sick and sad, Phillips. Randolph, yes, very, very sick and sad. Starlight saying, I wasn't finger pointing, Lex, was just elaborating on the point you actually made about RJ's turnover. Just added IQ has one as well. That's all, not criticizing. Yeah, those were poor turnovers, and they did close the door on us winning the game. I'll agree with that. But once again, in some ways, there's so much criticism and nitpicky stuff. And I get what you're saying. I get what you're elaborating on and saying that it's not really this. It's just matter of fact. And you're right. But in some ways, there's so many forces out there being negative about different things and coming at people. I kind of just want to go ahead and just, give them a carte blanche pass for last night. Even if there were little mistakes here and there, rookie mistakes, bad turnovers by IQ and RJ at the end. Not very good free throws at times either. In fact, let's do the team stats. We haven't done this in a while. I used to do the team stats, and I hadn't been doing them recently. I don't know why. The Raptors did shoot better than the Celtics last night, and that's part of the reason why we kept close with them, even though they shot so much better at three. 51% from the field for the Raptors and 47% for them. They did make 2 more shots than us because they got 10 more attempts. 15 threes for them at 29% three-point shooting versus 5 threes for us at 15% from three. Really, really bad three-point shooting. And all we needed was a little bit better shooting from Emmanuel, Scotty, or Grady. It would have helped a lot. The free throws were interesting. They didn't give any free throws to the Celtics hardly. They got 8, and they made all of them. And we got twice as many free throws. So there's where we made up like 10 of our points, kind of. Although we missed 4 of them, so we only made 12. We out-rebounded them 40-39, which is fantastic. We had more assists than them. We had more steals than them. We had 2 more turnovers than them, but the turnovers were an issue. Points in the paint, fantastic. 68 points in the paint for the Raptors versus 54. So points in the paint, more free throws, but they had more 3-pointers and more shots. And there's the difference right there on the team stats from what I can see there. Yeah. Let's keep going. Namus is saying it's definitely Pat Delaney's fault. The speaker fire back in 2020 was also Pat Delaney's fault. Okay. He wasn't on our team then. He wasn't on the Pacers either. So why would he have been involved in that game? It was Indiana versus Raptors. He was on the Wizards at that time. It's crazy. Paul's saying, no problem. Just sent you the rest of season 10. Hopefully some Beastie Boys on your best 80s music. I'd highly recommend Shadrach, a live performance captured by hand-painted illustrations. Yeah, that's 90s, though, Paul. You got to understand, that's 90s Beastie Boys. The only Beastie Boys songs on that 800 song list are like She's Crafty, Fight for Your Right, No Sleep Till Brooklyn. So it's all the first album that's on that playlist, nothing else. So I wanted to have a very 80s sound, and nothing from So What You Want, So What You Want, and anything after that. So only the first album, not even Paul's Boutique, is represented on this playlist. So you'll see. Yeah, Shadrach's too recent. So this is very 80s list, and the 80s Beastie Boys is Licensed to Ill. And that's it. So, yeah, I'll share that with you. Yeah, Name is saying, disagree. Mobo has grown immensely this season on both sides of the floor. He's grown in experience, but in some ways his production's the same. That's what I'll say. And he's still making some of the same mistakes. Some of the stuff with Jonathan that's frustrating to me is know-how on defense and positioning and knowing where to be. And that's all stuff he's going to get better and better at with more reps and more time on the court, because he does screw up on defense still pretty regularly, honestly. And that's part of where I'm saying, well, Jamal's gotten better in some of the areas like that. Jonathan has not totally. He is not totally. But I, agree to disagree with you guys on a couple things, whether it's Pat Delaney or this. That's right. Name is saying it's been an upward trajectory for Mobo since summer camp. Part of it is I feel like Mobo's gotten too much handed to him too soon. I know part of it is because he's best friends with Scott, and Scott has some influence. And in some ways, it has been smart to start him. But the fact that he has like 12 starts in the season is kind of crazy. He shouldn't have started so many games, to me, in my opinion. He should have been coming off the bench most of this year. And honestly, he should have been playing more on 905 than he has. That's me personally, how I feel about it. But in some ways, he's gotten the opportunities because of injuries to Jakob to start a lot this year. And that in the long run is going to really help things. But let's not get it twisted. He's been an Achilles heel for us and been a problem at times also, with missing bunnies near the basket, taking threes that he shouldn't, and also blowing defensive assignments at times. But I'll say he is, he had better productive lines at the beginning of the year too, in some ways. Like this line he had last night is not what he was doing in like November. So we'll agree to disagree a little bit on this, but it's not a bad thing. In some ways, he's got to go through the lumps and get this valuable playing time with these mistakes. Might as well do it now in the rebuild year than next year when we're competing more. And you know what? He's not going to start games next year. If we're healthy, God willing, Jonathan may not be started at all next year because Brandon is here. And they're going to have other people that need to start ahead of him, like Oshai and Grady, if other people are out, So we'll see. Let's see. You're saying Mobo's starting to show tiny little glimmers of a young OG already? I still think that the closest, people may say he looks like Precious. You may say he's showing glimmers of OG, but I still feel like he's in the line of Scotty. He's not Scotty, obviously. He's like a Timu Scotty. But the thing about it is he's not going to have the scoring and certain things, but he passes and he does a lot of the same things Scotty does. I'd say the closest thing, he's like a lower level Scotty is the best one. Yeah, little flickers in the night. That sounds weird, man. Blackhawks saying the liberal leadership race has to be finalized before the nation can run. Yeah, we'll figure this out. I think it's going to be Carney. And that'd be fantastic. I think it should be Carney. But we'll see. Either way, I know that a lot of damage has been done to the term liberal by right-wing forces out there. And in some ways, don't look at it as a slur. Don't lump everything against Justin just on the Liberal Party, because he stepped aside, and rightfully so in some ways, because he is a toxic asset to that party. He's hurting them more than he's helping them. And he's smart to step aside right now before anything, kind of like what Biden should have done a long time ago because he was too old. He waited too long to step aside for Kamala. And Justin Smart, he got out of the way really early so that there is an ability for us to build a good liberal leadership for next year in the federal election. So in some ways, you're right. But I'm going to say this blindly. Just follow the Liberal Party, whoever they pick. Don't care about who they pick. They're going to be better than Pierre no matter what. Pierre is not a good person. Trust me. I've said everything I said about it is true. That the Pierre and them will open the door for MAGA, and they're more likely to sell out Canada to the United States than anybody else. Don't get it twisted. The left-leaning parties will fight against the right-leaning government of the United States better than the right-leaning part of Canada's government. Seriously, they're more in cahoots than you think. They're acting like they're toughened towards Trump, but they're not. They're not. Trust me. You cannot trust Doug Ford or Pierre Poilievre to fight against the United States in the right kind of way. Seriously. They will sell out their own grandmother if it makes them an extra $1 million. Seriously. So I don't want to poo-poo anything. I'm just going to say blindly, you should just follow anti-PC, whatever it is. And it may not be somebody you like. It may not be exactly who you want. But trust me, it's the choice you're going to want to make. Trust me. Carlos saying, yeah, Raptors Delight will probably say that we wouldn't win if KD didn't get hurt. And I'm glad I never watched a minute of Raptors Delight. Yeah, I'm glad you haven't watched either. In some ways, you're lucky. Yeah, they're going to totally sully our championship and say we didn't deserve it on that show. I know it is. And you're making this for Raptors fans. You're calling it Raptors Delight. Fuck you guys. Fuck you, Sportsnet, and your bullshit. Yeah, let's see. Stargate saying, remember the Owen Nolan debacle? When the Maple Leafs got Owen Nolan, they acted like they were getting Mario Lemieux. What a shit show was that? And remember how the fans used to treat Curtis Joseph so horribly as well? See, I can talk hockey. I just take the SWS all mentality towards basketball. Well, I'm just saying, if they made if they made the Jays version of this, it's Rogers, right? In some ways, that's the most important product to them because Rogers Center, Blue Jays, has always been Rogers. And well, even if they didn't do jack shit other than a playoff kind of run with Josh Donaldson, like almost 10 years ago, they would, if they made a Blue Jays Delight that covered the last 30 years, and that's not including the two World Series that happened just before 30 years ago, they would make the most glowing, patriotic, happy thing for the Blue Jays instead of this crap that they made for the Raptors. And that's the difference you would see. That's the difference you would see right there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go Raptors. That's right. The media here covers up all the Leafs' darkness. Yeah, they're only going to show the bright sides. And if people that think I'm crazy and saying this, no, this is the damn truth. If there was a Maple Leafs Delight, it would be completely positive and it wouldn't be snarky and it wouldn't be making fun of them. It would be trying to bring out pride and bringing out kind of like happiness and pointing to all the bright spots that the Leafs did, very few, and highlighting them instead of any of the dark stuff. Seriously, it's that biased. I know that they would do that because that's the way the hockey, the media in Canada has always portrayed hockey in the NHL, and the Leafs is always in the best light and not really coming down on them in certain ways. And then the Raptors, they'll absolutely shit on every chance they can get and gaslight their fans in all kinds of different ways. That's right. Paul's saying Shadrach is from 89, from the greatest album of all time, bro. It's Paul's Boutique. But I'm just saying, to me, I associate that album with the 90s. It came out in the last year of the 80s, and all the videos and everything that happened was in the 90s when I was in high school. So unfortunately, it doesn't get the cutoff because into my mind, it doesn't fit 80s music. It fits 90s music. So that I know that's technically right, Paul, but we're not going by that exactly. All right, I'm 217. All right, let's do the classic card real quick. Let's see what's going on with the classic card, and we'll do a wrap-up. Oh, this is a great one. This is a fantastic classic card today. I love this, man. All right, let's see who knows this card right here. First one in, we'll get the Raptor Freak trivia points. Oh, yesterday, by the way, the classic card was Brooke Lopez, but nobody got it. Nobody got it because nobody was here. I actually did it myself because I knew nobody was here. I looked at the card without looking at the name, and I guessed it, and then I held it up like here. So, oh, Brooke Lopez. I was right, Brooke Lopez. So I got the classic card yesterday, but I don't get any points. But yeah, the card was Brooke Lopez. But no, it doesn't matter because nobody was here to see it. If a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, did it fall? No, it didn't fall. All right, here's the classic card, guys. Let's see. All right, y'all should know this one. Seriously. I don't even think they have his name on the front. Do they? Oh, wait, they do. All right, cover it up. All right, use the classic card, guys. This guy's actually kind of important to us. So let's see who it is, man. Who is it, y'all? Who is that classic card? I know it's an illustration. It's not a picture. So if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. In some ways, this is a very important person to the Raptors. So in some ways, we got to go by this. There we go. Smooth nose. That's Alvin Robertson, the first ever person to score a basket for the Raptors. And we found out on the dark side of the Raptors that Damon was mad that Alvin took the first shot and made the first shot in Raptors history. Damon Stoudemire wanted to be the first Raptor to ever score, but Alvin ran out there and got a three-pointer right away off the jump ball and was the first ever player to score points for the Toronto Raptors. This guy right here, Alvin Robertson. Yeah, Smooth Brown Man, you're going to get 100 points. It's not a hard card. It really isn't. This guy's a quadruple double guy too. He got a quadruple double in the league. 10 double digits in 4 stat categories in a game before. Yeah, a guy you'd like to forget, Alvin. Yeah, it's weird though, because in some ways I like him. I remember when he used to play, I liked him. Like before he was on the Raptors, when he was on Milwaukee and San Antonio, I always thought he was awesome because he's really good at steals and he's such a good defender. In fact, he was one of the few people that Michael said could defend him in the league was Alvin Robertson. And that's part of the reason why we beat Bulls in that game in Skydome, that classic game, was Alvin was guarding him. He's one of the people on him. Doug Christie, I think, was another. But yeah, in some ways, I know he has domestic violence charges, and he's been in prison since his playing days for violence, and really not totally a good person. But in some ways, I respect him for his NBA career and his accomplishments in that way. So, all right, let's put it in on the classic card chart for Smooth. Alvin Robertson, original Raptors scorer. Alvin, yeah, there we go. I love it, man. Love it. We actually got a Raptors-related card today. Smooth has got it, though. 100 points to him. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying in the chat. Smooth saying the 80s were the lost years of the Leafs, 81 to 99. And Trevor J saying Raptors Delight should change their name to the Shit Show. I'm just going to call it the dark side of the Raptors, because in some ways it's pointing out all the ugly things that happen to us. It's snarky and it's just not very nice. And they want to cover villains like Paul Pierce and Vince Carter and them being villains and stuff like that, and overimportance on LeBronto. Dark side of the Raptors. That's what I'll call it. And in some ways, if you want to watch a horror story or like some crap about the Raptors trying to write that shit, that's fine. But balance it out with the story of the open gym and the triumphant stuff about the Raptors and the history and the culture and the pride in our team. That's the difference. Open gym gives us pride in our team, gives us culture, gives us connection to the players, gives us an insight view of the players behind the scenes and who they really are. In some ways, open gym was a fantastic, brilliant idea to make for the Raptors by Jeff Landicho and Masai Ujiri, because it opened up a new level of connection to the team. And more people wanted to become Raptors fans because they saw open gym and they saw the real people that play for us and they saw them humanized. Well, Raptors Delight doesn't want to humanize anybody. They want to make our team the butt of a joke. They want to talk about all the failings and the poor things that happened in our franchise history so that it conditions people to be like, yeah, the Raptors are a joke and I shouldn't be proud of being a Raptors fan. That's the total difference right there, the night and day of the two series. Is one is teaching us pride, and it's really built a huge following and made a connection between the team and the fan base. And the other one is teaching us to be ashamed of being Raptors fans and that it's trolling us. So, yeah, that's the easiest thing right there. I feel like that's why they made Sportsnet. And now I would speculate the Bell people that make Raptors Open Gym has saw the crap that was being made by a Sportsnet for Raptors Delight, and they decided we're going to go all out and make it even better for the Raptors fans, and we're going to do some of our best work, in some ways counterbalancing it. I feel like the Raptors Delight episodes have come out, and there's been an Open Gym that mirrored that right at the same time, coming out at the same time. And it's really for that stark comparison that I just made. So thank you, Open Gym. Thank you, Bell. Thank you for covering the team and the right way to build the culture and honestly to build more money for the team. In some ways, Sportsnet, you're stupid. You're shooting yourself in the foot because you're turning people off from the team, and that means less money for you and making money off the team is what I would say on that. So it's crazy. The dark side of the Raptors. That's what I'm officially calling it from now on. But you want to call it the shit show? Yeah, you can call it the shit show. Although the shit show is a show that's done by Anthony down at the Kensington Market. Shit show is an interesting show. Shit show is my friend Anthony, who's an artist. He paints really dark, disgusting corpses all over walls in downtown Toronto with black and white ink. And you'll see them around Toronto everywhere, like weird, like sexual, like tits on like dead corpses and stuff. It's really crazy. He's a modern artist, and he's one of the best of our time. Nobody will know about him until the future, maybe. Hopefully he'll be like Picasso someday. But he does a show called Shit Show where he goes up to cops in downtown Toronto and he plays the circle game with them. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about, where he puts the little circle below his waist and then he hits them. He plays that game with the cops. And it's funny because they fall for it all the time, and he gets to hit the shit out of cops in their shoulders. But that's the shit show to me. You should check it out. The shit show. Anthony Schofield. He's one of the greatest modern artists that nobody knows about right now in the world today. And I'm proud to say that I own a couple of his original pieces in my collection. And I know someday he's going to be somebody, and they're going to recognize the genius of what he's done. It's just not in this time. It'll be in the future. It'll be in the future. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, shit show. All right, let's see what else. Stargate saying if it was the Spurs jersey, I would have got it. If Alvin had been in a Spurs jersey, you would have noticed that was him because you remember him from the Spurs. Okay. Yeah, in his personal life, very, very bad dude. Yeah, yeah. He was good in San Antonio. And Trevor's saying, Lex, watch who is making that show, Hockey Station. That channel was always a hockey first. Baseball in some ways is their creme de la creme bread and butter because it's Rogers Sportsnet, Rogers Center, Toronto Blue Jays, Rogers owned. And so there's more historically a connection to the Blue Jays and it being the Blue Jays station. TSN is more of a connection to being the hockey Leaf station and more NHL. But they do the Raptors better under that umbrella than TSN Sportsnet does. So I don't know. I mean, obviously Sportsnet's going to very much want to cover hockey very heavily and do hockey very much more than basketball also. So it's just like the hierarchy of these people that run these channels put basketball as like third or even fourth in the sports world, depending on things. They'll put curling in at third above the Raptors in basketball. And sometimes they'll even put the Argos above us or even the TFC. Not very much, not as often. No, that doesn't happen really. But yeah, Leafs and Blue Jays above the Raptors for sure on their broadcasts on both channels. Honestly, that's just the damn truth. That's just the damn truth. All right, let's do a recap on things. I'm really happy that I got to do a stream today and talk to you guys. Let's see if there's any changes to the Raptors injuries real quick. I could actually go and look at Blue Skies real quick and see if Blake Murphy has any updates on any kind of things with the injuries. Let's see if anybody's saying it. Okay, yeah, they're about to start the 9:05 game in 15 minutes, so we got to finish up, and we'll get on there, and they're going to start A.J. Lawson, Jamison Battle, Evan Gilliard, Eugene Omoruyi, and Frank Kaminsky is back. Jared Roden will come off the bench. So, yeah, 12 o'clock start at noon. So we got to be ready for that in the next 15 minutes. So be ready for that. That's what Blake's saying right now as far as things with that. So the Raptors for tonight, Jakob Poeltl is still questionable for tonight. We'll see if he's going to play today. Otherwise, same things. PJ Tucker out. Shamshay and Ingram are out also. On the Pacers side of things, what do they got for injuries? Let's see. Right now, it's still that Halliburton and McConnell are questionable due to their injuries, and that's it for them. The referees for the 9:05 game that's just about to start in about 20 minutes. Chelisa Painter is the crew chief. Ken Jones is the referee, and Cameron Jelinas is the umpire. In the replay center at the NBA Secaucus, Matt Boland, Jason Goldenberg, Aaron Smith, and Inte Huang are going to be there. That's not a bad replay center, honestly. But on the court in Indiana against the Pacers and Pascal for the Raptors tonight, Josh Tiven, Murat Kogat, and Jonathan Sterling. All three of those refs favor the Indiana Pacers in this one. In fact, Murat Kogat's favorite team statistically is the Pacers, and his second worst favorite team, the second least favorite team, is the Raptors. So there's a very wide gulf between Kogat's feelings about the Pacers and the Raptors. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. I got stars of the game for the game last night with the Celtics. And my three stars were Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Chris Boucher, showing up big and trying to do big stuff to help them in that kind of way. The power rankings are out on ESPN this morning, and the Raptors are staying put at 26 overall out of 30. And they're saying that from March 7th to March 16th, the Raptors will play 6 games against the Wizards twice, the Jazz twice, the Sixers, and the Trailblazers. That stretch will help determine whether the Raptors are going to be locked into a top 5 lottery spot or if they move farther down the list over the coming weeks against what is an overall soft schedule. Yeah, we have such an easy schedule going out, and our team is humming and buzzing at such a high level of play right now. We need to just naturally do what we're going to do and win games. I'm sorry. I don't care about a top 5 pick because in some ways a 6 through 10 pick may be better for us for the salary cap and the rookie scale contract that we signed the new player on. If the player after the top 3 is the same, going all the way down from number 4 to number 10 or 12, then let's pick later and not worry about winning more games and climbing up the standings a bit and not being so close to the top 5. If we pick 7th or 8th and we get Common Malak and he's at that pro rating scale, then we did exactly what we needed to do, everybody. So I'm just going to say that. In some ways, let's not worry about the ping pong balls. Let's worry about getting W's and playing out in the right way for the rest of the season, because in some ways it'll work in our favor either way, is what I'm saying right there. All right, that's it, guys. Happy birthday to there is a birthday today, and the birthday is David Johnson. Former Raptor draft pick David Johnson was picked after Delano Banton in the same year that Scotty Barnes was picked. Currently, the former Louisville product is playing for the Memphis Hustle in the G League still. So happy birthday, David Johnson, who is 24 today, 24 years old today. David Johnson, DJ. There you go. Yeah, Trevor's saying, why Raptors can't have a channel for their own self? Other NBA teams have their own channel. Well, MSG is technically the Rangers also. It's not just the Knicks, but the Knicks do get the preference on that channel. Not most teams do have their own channel. That's not totally true. A lot of those Bally channels are covering the baseball teams also and doing all sports in their markets. So this is not totally true. The Raptors had their own dedicated channel called Raptors TV for a long time on premium cable, but it morphed into just NBA Team over time. And that was when we actually had our own channel. But of course, it wasn't on regular cable, and you had to pay out the ass to get it. And it was pretty cool. And there was some really good like programming around then. Dan Gladden and different people around the Raptors handling our media and stuff. They did a pretty good job in the early days of trying to make original broadcasting for a Raptors channel. It just didn't stick around. In some ways, it was mishandled in the way it was. I would have loved for there to be a Raptors TV once again. In some ways, Raptors TV / NBA TV is what it is at this point. So we do have our own channel. It's just that it's a very premium channel. And in some ways, it doesn't cover things in the way that it could. It'd be really, really good. To be really, really good. All right, there's the rundown, guys. Thanks for watching me today. Let's beat the Pacers. In some ways, the Pacers are 4-4 in their last 8, and they're susceptible, but they have won 3 out of their last 4. So who knows? Siakam, are you tired? Halliburton, are you sitting out? Will the Raptors play at a very high level tonight? Are they going to be tired because of a quick turnover from traveling from Toronto to Indiana for this game on a back-to-back? We'll have to see. All the answers will be revealed tonight. Real quick, I'll just go look at what ESPN is saying for our chance to win against the Pacers. The percentages right now, they're saying we got a 28% chance against 72% chance. This is similar odds as we had against the Celtics last night, honestly. Similar odds right there. So, all right, y'all, thanks for watching me. I'm glad I could get through the airwaves today and actually connect with you guys and talk with you on the stream. Tomorrow I'll do reaction to both the games, the Oklahoma City Blue game that's about to start in 15 minutes and the Indiana Pacers game tonight. Good job, Open Gym. We love you at Open Gym. Jeff Landicho, I love you, man. Thank you for creating that show. You are an amazing person, and I love you so much for it, and I love you too, Masai. And I love the fact that you guys got a chance to show your side of things in trades on that legacy episode. It's so important for people to see that, like, Masai's a human being, and he does business, and it's tough. It's not easy, but also at the same time, he's good at what he does. He really, really is. And I love that he also made light of, some of this is luck, guys. Some of this is luck. It's not just all skill. Some of this is luck. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Be proud to be Raptors fans. Don't let Sportsnet gaslight you into being like, the Raptors are a joke and treat them like a joke, like a lot of our so-called fans and our fan nation do. So, yeah, stand on what you stand for. And I appreciate everybody for standing with me and this side of things. That's right. Peace out to you, Blackhawk. Tristan Trey saying that's a pretty well-established Boston team, all things considered. That was an okay game. Peace out. Yeah, I totally agree. Raptor Freak, Tristan Trey. Awesome to see you right at the end there. Yeah, I no slouch in what we did. We played toe-to-toe with the Celtics, the champs, and they were playing at a high level, and they were making shots, and they were playing very well together, and we hung with them. And in some ways, the direction we're going, we can catch up with them in the next couple of years with our youngsters developing and the new additions of Brandon Ingram and a draft pick that we're going to get this summer. So, yeah, the future is very, very bright. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go, Raptors. Just win, baby.